All right, not my camera being like this. Hello, and welcome to yet another conversation with Coco. Let me go ahead and see if this will help my camera to focus on me or not. Oh, there we go. So, hello, good evening, happy Sunday. Welcome to yet another conversation with Coco. I'm your host, Coco. Today, we're going to have a very interesting conversation that I need liquor for. Right? Got my drink. Yeah, it's tequila and wine. So let me add Ari. We're going to do a brief introduction. And then before we dive headfirst into the conversation and my 7.5 pages of notes, I wanted to play the beginning part of the interview with Danae Jackson just so we have some background information on who she was before entering this relationship and how it was that she got to the point of being so susceptible to something like this. So let me add Ari and let people know what your name is, where you calling us from, and your sign. No, I'm joking. Where can we find you on social media? Any upcoming projects, anything like that? Let them know what we can do with that. Yeah.
Well, my name is Ari, and you can find me on TikTok at Dear Ari D. Um, I really don't have anything coming up because school's about to start right back for me. So my birthday came in the right time, so I can just focus on school. But I'm getting back into the swing of being on my TikTok platform, so maybe I'll have some stuff coming soon.
I was trying to find my glasses wipes because my glasses are dirty. All right, so I don't even think I have the mental capacity or energy to go over the background information to leading up to this whole situation. I'm gonna just let it be what it's gonna be. We're just gonna go with God. I don't have time. I think when we go through their timeline, I think the timeline will speak for itself. So yeah, I think I'm gonna let this play. I think there's like 20 or not 20, like 10 or 15 minutes where she's talking about why she did the interview, and then her background leading up to meeting Derek, and then we can just go down. Just we can just go down the
Mhm.
chronological conversation because it was a lot, and
Hmm.
it was a lot.
Be
That's all
nice.
I'm going to say.
Remember you told me to be nice.
I told Ari we're gonna have to be nice, and she was like, "For what?" And I'm like, "We're gonna try. We're gonna try at least to be nice for a little bit." Um, I think after we see,
The title alone is disrespectful. This man did not have to name the episode "Sorry, Miss Jackson." He didn't.
I bet you he thought he was fucking it up when he named this because let's just go right into it because yeah, let's do that.
We say we keep it lit. We live intentionally and transparently. Are you
Yes.
gonna keep it lit today?
Lit all the way.
All the way.
Turned up.
You and I have had some conversations in the pre-interview. We've been getting to know each other for about the last week and a half.
Yes.
And man, when I tell you, I've been blown away by your transparency, your vulnerability. And social media had this way of trying to make you look like you crazy.
Yes.
And when I met you, I talked to you. I'm like, this girl, not only is she not crazy, she's absolutely brilliant. So
Wow.
What was that? What was that about?
Well, I think the world did not see me for so many years, so they have nothing to go off of.
Facts.
And so they're seeing me for the first time when all of this crazy stuff is going on. And then I'm sitting up here talking about Jesus, talking about a helmet of salvation. So it's like, oh, she has lost her mind. She is
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
right. And I'm like, I'm saying I have a sound mind and I know what's going on right now because I've been delving into the word. I'm discerning the time that I'm in from a spiritual state. And
Right.
now I'm trying to protect what sanity I do have with the word of God. So I think that's kind of what fueled all of that. They're trying to get a feel for who I am.
But you haven't always been a Christian.
No.
Look,
No.
I want to take an opportunity to get to know you before we talk about what everybody wants to know, because like I said, I want to provide this opportunity for us to get to know you,
Yes.
Danae, outside of your spouse. Who is Danae?
Danae is a girl from Denver, Colorado, born and raised. I have some brothers and three brothers and a sister. And while I was introduced to Christianity and actually did have some roots in the church, I had to figure out that on my own. I had to identify with Christ and believing in him on my own. And so when I was younger, I had a belief in Christ, but I felt like I was doing it more so because that's what I was supposed to do.
Right.
You're supposed to believe in God. You're supposed to do this. And I'm very shy. I'm very reserved and laid back. But then at the same time, you can get a side of me that's very just like let's throw some spikes in your hair and just go, do something completely odd that nobody's expecting. So you kind of get a range there. And so that's me pretty much in a nutshell. Very reserved. I'm very loyal. Sometimes clearly to my own detriment.
Yeah.
And so that's a little bit about me.
Well, when you say loyal to your own detriment, has that always been the case?
I feel like it has, at least in my adult years. Probably not so much as a child, but when I'm looking back on why that is, it stems back to a root of rejection and abandonment that I had. And so as I grew up into my adult life, I definitely would say it was more in that aspect. So
we think about abandonment. What do you go back on when you hear yourself say, when I think about the abandonment that I've come from? Let's unpack that.
Yeah. So abandonment, with my father, I had teenage parents. My mom was 16 when she had me. My father was 18. They never really had a relationship per se. They were just supposed to be playing video games.
They were playing with other things.
Here you go. Merry Christmas, right? Because my birthday's in December, a couple days before Christmas. So
okay.
Video games, here I go, the present. And so, there's a little bit of rejection and abandonment there, right? Because I never really had parents that were a couple.
Yeah.
Right. And then because of that, there was some question about whether or not I was actually my father's or not. And so then I had that, even though I wasn't even born yet to receive that per se, but that still affected me because I grew up and found out about that. And then there was rejection. And then just the relationship that I had with my father growing up, I felt like he just wasn't as present as he could be, or he would always not come through or follow through on his promises when he said he would do something. And so that all affected me. And then boom, he died when I was 12. And so then, I'm just left to try to figure out this thing on my own. And so there's abandonment, there's rejection there. And as I was younger, I used to be like a tomboy per se, right? And that was because I wanted the affection of my father. I had two brothers at the time, and so they were playing football. He was their football coach. He was involved in all their activities, and I'm over here, just this little chubby girl over here.
You're chubby
I was fat. I was fat, and
fat little girl.
I was. My mom was in culinary school at the time, so she was practicing, and I was eating.
He was helping her pass her assignments.
Exactly. And so I would try to, win his affection and his love by trying to be like a tomboy, like my brothers, like play football. I wanted to be on a football team. My mom was like, absolutely not. But all of that stemmed from my childhood, and then that transformed as I grew older, and then transformed into the relationship that everybody is interested in. So.
So, did you deal with any type of childhood trauma when you think about it outside of abandonment?
So again, my dad did never follow really through on his promises. So when I would go over there, sometimes that would cause some issues between him and my stepmom, and then I would be at my grandma's house. And so
you say it was cause issues, like what do you mean?
So they would just have their little arguments or whatever, and I felt like it was always about me. But of course, I'm a child, so I don't know adult things at that time. But how I internalized it and what I carried with me is that, oh, this is about me being over here. Now I'm over here, I'm disrupting their little family union, and my mom is over here, and I feel like maybe she's jealous of my mom or something like that, and this is all going on while I'm a child. So this is what I grew up with, it was what the capacity that I had. And so that was pretty much the main trauma that I had. I didn't have another trauma until I was 19, where I was raped. And so I still kind of include that in childhood trauma. So
it's been an interesting thing with this season of the podcast. It's like almost every woman that has sat down on this couch during this season have dealt with sexual trauma, sexual assault, rape.
Yes.
It was a statistic that I read that was 1 in 5 women have dealt with sexual assault. And then now they said there's probably 1 in 3 or something like crazy.
Absolutely.
What happened in that? Was it a boyfriend, a date rape situation, a relative, or what happened, if you don't mind sharing?
So I was 19. I was on summer from college actually, and I was going out to a party that I didn't tell my mom about. I was, doing my own thing, and I went there, and I did have an ex-boyfriend there, and a couple other people, my my family, my brothers were there and their friends and things like that. And so we were all drinking, having a good time. I was downstairs, and one of the people there decided that they, seen me and they wanted what they wanted. And so I was grabbed from behind. I was pushed down, and then, there's that story of being raped, but everybody was upstairs, so they couldn't hear me downstairs, in the basement screaming with over the music and all of that. So
how'd you process that? Did you tell anybody?
I did not process it. And so here, I did not process it at all. I didn't tell anybody. In fact, then I didn't go home that night. I actually stayed in in the house with my abuser, right? Well, not like in the same place, but they were like upstairs, I stayed the night. I didn't tell my mom where I was at. And I actually lied to her and told her, hey, I was at my uncle's house with my aunt and my my brothers, and so I never told her, and I never told anybody else. I actually held it for 5 years, and then I briefly mentioned it to Derek at one point because he was talking to someone at the time, and then it came up like in the conversation. I was like, I was raped, and this just triggered that. And he was like, what? So he didn't even find out till 5 years, and it was just a brief conversation. And then I never really dealt with it. I never got that therapy or counseling, and I didn't get that until I was 30, which at that point was about 12 years after the experience. And when I started unpacking it, I started to realize how much that single event really affected my life, affected my sex life in marriage, affected my mental and emotional state, affected almost every aspect that I didn't even know that it was affecting.
First of all, thank you for sharing that. It's always hard for me to hear that. I'm trying to be present at it because I have a daughter.
Yes.
And one of the things that I was super vigilant about that, because me and her mom wasn't together as my daughter was matriculating through her adolescent years. And I was always like, super like, who you dating? Who's this guy? I want to know. Like, I was just on edge because I said, I just never wanted my daughter to ever have to experience that, and for me to have to experience that, because I don't know how I would have reacted and responded.
It's hard. It's hard when you have girls, and a lot of times it happens with people that you know, and that you trust, right? So my abuser was somebody that I know, or knew, and so your guard is automatically let down. It's not something that you can anticipate. So it's like, okay, you're doing the right thing, asking the questions, where you're at, what you're doing, but sometimes you have to be like, I don't care who it is, uncle, brother, cousin, grandpa. If you feel uncomfortable at all, I need you to let me know so then we can address it, so.
Again, thank you for sharing that. Yeah. So you met your husband at what age, and how'd y'all meet?
At 19, we met in business calc class at Tuskegee University.
Hold on. So you met him shortly after your rape experience?
I did 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
3 weeks after I met him in class. Yes. Right. And so then we add on another layer, right? I went straight into a relationship. Even though it wasn't like immediately we started dating, but I met him and there was interest there. I went straight into that without even acknowledging dealing with the rape. I pretended like it never even happened. And
all right. So I wanted to stop it right there just so we can lead up into the conversation. Before we proceed into the relationship, thoughts, concerns, prayers, sorrows.
Up until business calc, I was like, she's been through some things. And I don't know why nobody noticed it and why she didn't reach out for the help, especially since she had a mother, and y'all will find out a little later on, that is supportive of her. I don't know why she didn't go to her mother. But then again, a lot of people that have been abused, they won't, because they feel like they did something wrong. They feel like it's a guilt that they have to carry. And that's where I'm like, I am sorry she's been through that. And I understand that. And yeah.
Ari, let me say something. You look like you're trying to be so nice. I feel the butt coming up. So let me just say,
I think I'm doing a great job.
We're doing great. We're doing great. We're more than 5 minutes in. We're doing great. We're going to pray for ourselves. So, I mean, I can totally understand that as someone that has been a victim of child sexual abuse and being assaulted in my adult age. So, with that, I understand. And so, I want to talk about her mom later because I guess I'm parsing it out. Like, I can understand why she wouldn't tell her mama that she was assaulted. She didn't tell anybody.
Right.
That's something I understand that. Now, going forward, I'm confused, but we'll iron that out a little bit later. I just want to play that so they can get a holistic view of these two people coming together and creating a perfect storm. You have this woman here who is dealing with daddy issues and abandonment issues and has had a history since childhood of trying to gain the attention, the admiration, the validation of a male figure in her life. This is someone that has body image issues as well. And with body image issues, as a big girl that has had, sorry, there was stuff. I probably should close my blinds. There's things moving around, honey. As a a fat kid, I can almost guarantee you there's some disordered eating there somewhere. So we're dealing with that. We're dealing with the ugly duckling syndrome. Going further in here, she talks about being one of the only Black people in her environment, let alone in high school. I think it was like her and a few other Black people. And so she's dealing with that dynamic of being a Black girl growing up in a sea of whiteness and what that does for your image of your externalness. And then all of that, dealing with grief and the death of a parent when she's 12. I think she's the only girl as well.
I think she said she has a sister.
Well, she's the oldest, so we can infer that too. She's the oldest of teen parents. That is a lot for some of us. Me, that's not a lot to go through, but it's a lot to go through. And then you're in college, and she is raped at a party. That is the picture I want us to keep in mind. I think that's what keeps me anchored to Grace a little bit. But all of this leading up to, and the rape happened 3 weeks before she meets Derek in class. Do you have any comments or notes about how they met and how this relationship, quote unquote, situationship, as she stated, started? Because it was kind of weird to me. Apparently, and this is where I think this is where my inklings of obsession come into play. She was having a conversation about how she was in class and she had her binder and it had pictures of her modeling, and she's like, oh, I felt kind of high school. And she goes, he kind of basically sees her binder and says, oh, hey, do you model? And she was like, yeah. And then he goes, can you tutor me? Me, in my mind, the red flags went off. Why are you asking me about modeling, something that's purely physical? And when she answers in the affirmative, you want to create a dynamic where you have constant communication and proximity to her.
Because
I'm pointing this out so that she don't get God either, because she didn't see the signs. They weren't in her face. She must be colorblind and thought the red flag was an orange flag or a green flag. I don't know what the fuck she thought it was, but it was a red flag.
It was, because he saw past that facade of her being like this powerful woman who knows everything about herself. He saw past that. He knew if he came up to her and said, oh, you model, it would give her so much validation that she needed, because she never felt that she was pretty, that he knew he could get in.
But it's also that other part of that where she describes him, right? The way she talks about this man, even though she'll tell you he drug her through the mud. The way she talks about this man, it's like this is her Adonis.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is her god. Like she said it was a fairy tale.
Yeah.
A fairy tale. They were falling asleep on the phone the first few days. What else? And this was like what? She said, I was confused. Was the party during summer or was it between, was it in winter break?
So I'm assuming that the party was during summer break and then they had first day of class.
Okay. And so by Valentine's Day, this is another red flag. All right. He asked her to be his girlfriend with his shirt off.
That's so That's romantic.
But mind you, if I'm getting all this stuff correct in her timeline of what she was saying, I probably, if I cared enough, I'd probably go back and get the timeline together again. But it was like, she said they were in love after 3 days because they've been talking on the phone, falling asleep on the phone together. That's cute. He asked her to be his girlfriend in February. So from like August, September to February, I guess they were like talking. But like in that time period, she knew that he was fucking other women.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to figure out when was the fairy tale?
The fairy tale initiated in her mind when she saw him that first day of business calc. So that's where the fairy tale started. So she shut out any red flags that could have been right in her face, just a waving, because she decided that at that moment in calc class, when they were getting syllabi, she thought this was going to be the man of her dreams. This was her Prince Charming. This was her Prince Eric. You know, this is who we got.
And here's where I feel like the first inkling of her obsession to me was how she described him. The second inclination was you falling in love after 3 days of talking on the phone. My first, where was it? I lost it. The inkling of her being a pick-me. She described them as being a mismatched couple, and through him asking her to be his girlfriend, she thought that she upgraded, and she thought that other people were hating. And I'm just confused because I'm not confused. I get it intellectually, on an intellectual level. I get it. We went over the perfect storm of her having all these body image and image issues and seeking external validation from men. I get it. Right? Cool. Got it. Cool. Right. Girl, this is my problem with pick-me's. What you have, no one really wants. I don't care how fine this man is. I don't care how many abs he has, if it's 6, 8, or 12. I don't care how tall this man is, how chocolatey or light-skinned he is. I don't care if he had good hair, bad hair. I don't care about none of that shit. If you are in a position to where you're thinking that you're one-upping other women by being with this man, just by being with this man, you've already lost. And we don't really want any parts of that. Well, people that are not delusional, those of us who are not delusional, we don't want what you have. And it is that delusion of people wanting what you have that feeds into you taking any and everything just for you to say you have a man. And especially when it's that man is, this is my man. This one right here, this is mine. even though he fucking everybody.
Yes.
Because like she's describing all this relationship bliss that she going through, which is weird because when he asked her about has there ever been any monogamy or bliss, she was define that. This man,
her and needing definitions irritated me from beginning to end. Okay, let's define that. Hun, you went to college. You should know how to define these words. This is what you wanted. So you should have had the definitions already defined.
okay, so I'm gonna read this comment because I have a response. So her age should be taken into consideration. 19 years old, have questionable common sense. Now the shenanigans she put up with at her age sounds like a desperation and being. Absolutely, I agree and I disagree. I disagree, and I'm gonna be purely anecdotal. I wasn't this dumb at 13.
Right.
I'm sorry. I apologize to this woman, but and again, I have to stop thinking that everybody has the brain that I have and has common sense because it's not always common.
She has degrees. Okay.
Well, Amanda said it. You can be smart, educated, and still be dumb. And again, this may just be from my daddy issues. When your words start to not match up with your actions, we have a problem.
Period.
Alarm bells are going off, especially the problems that they were having, mainly her being in a rotation while she's thinking in her mind that she's monogamous with this man. I'm sorry, you too old to be acting like that at 19. I'm sorry. If that's too harsh on young women, y'all let me know. But I don't think it's too much to ask from a 19-year-old to understand when someone's wasting your fucking time and playing in your face. And I said this earlier when we were watching part 2. I get that there's something to be said about men that are actively manipulating people. Right? Saying that like you don't know if they're cheating, but you know he'll tell you one thing and he'll do something outside behind your back, and that may take you a longer time to piece things together and connect the dots. But her particular situation
was never that.
Based on what she said,
never had that issue. Everything was in her face.
Like we gonna get there, but you pregnant in the house you live in, passing other bitches in the hallway for dick appointments while you're pregnant.
Yes.
For the 4th time.
Yes,
we'll get to it because
this is gonna be different.
I give young women a lot of grace. I mean, me and Danae, she's a year older than me, so you know we didn't have the internet like what we do now, where we can just be on FaceTime screen sharing,
Right.
But from her own words, she was never out the loop.
No,
she always knew about these women.
She did
since she was 19 in college.
She knew them better than she knew herself.
Girl, we don't get to that shit because that shit was unhinged. That shit is batshit.
Oh, that was
crazy.
so profound. That was so profound.
I have another clip.
The interviewer made it that way. I mean, I'm trying.
Listen, let me put the clip up because I gotta remember to stop not sharing the screen so that we can not be here all night. And this tequila and wine is kicking in, so I want y'all to understand. My mouth finna get real reckless. And I'm hot a little bit, so I'm letting y'all know now. The deeper we get into this, I'm just letting y'all know.
Like I literally watched it. And so that was soul crushing. You know, at that time, this is well before we're married, but I've seen it multiple times, multiple girls, several. this is just in college. We're not talking even about marriage.
Let me back up. I think I came in the middle of something. I think my timestamp is off.
You said you were Facebook.
Yeah, we had the same car. So I would set up times for us to go race, and we worked together. So clearly, I was at work when I wasn't in class. So there's that. And then I would set up times where like I would be like let's meet up at this place, and I knew Derek would find out about it, and I wanted him to because I wanted him to pay.
You want him to be jealous?
I wanted him to. Like I sat there and watched.
I never got caught up on
IG.
IG. I was too smart for that.
On the phone.
On the phone. Like I literally watched it. And so that was soul crushing. At the time, I've seen it multiple times, multiple girls, several. This is just in college.
I was like 20.
There was a lot of anger and bitterness, and I never once really confronted him about it. I always kind of like sat on it and just buried it. Mostly, I feel like now I'm looking back on it, it was a fear of rejection, and abandonment.
And you feel like if you spoke up, he gonna.
Someone said there was an echo. I'm gonna go back a minute. I'm gonna turn my mic off. I'm sorry. I was talking to people on TikTok. My bad.
I wanted him to. Like I've sat there and watched. Literally looked through his phone and watched him have sex with other girls
on the phone.
On the phone. Like I literally watched it, and so that was soul crushing. At that time, this is well before we're married, but I've seen it multiple times, multiple girls, several. This is just in college. We're not talking even about marriage.
After that, we're gonna get there in a little bit. We're gonna talk about straight college. How did we get here?
So there was a lot of anger and bitterness, and I never once really confronted him about it. I always kind of like sat on it and just buried it. Mostly, I feel like now I'm looking back on it, it was a fear of rejection, and abandonment.
And you feel like if you spoke up, he's gonna leave.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, I don't want him to leave me, like so I have to just take this. But then at the same time, it was creating this deep-seated hatred and resentment and spitefulness. And so here I go setting him up, and it worked.
Fabian. So how'd y'all set it up?
Tell me, how can you say something nice after that?
So in case y'all missed it, the sex tapes, right? Because we're going to get deeper into that, because this whole sex tape thing is a common thread in this relationship. So back in college, she would find sex tapes of him and other women, and she would watch them. He catches her crying one time.
Mm-hmm. And she said,
if I let it play a little bit, you will hear certain noises and audios that they edited into the thing. She is naming by name real women that this man had sex tapes with, that she had watched in college. And she said he catches her crying. And he asked her why she's crying, and she says, "Oh, I miss my dad. I'm grieving. It's like his birthday or something coming up around something that has to do with him."
I don't even think she gave him even that. I just think she just said, "I miss my dad."
Something like that. Meanwhile, she crying because she didn't see him bang out Trish, Jackie, Priscilla, Candace, so on and so forth. And instead of telling him, so again, she does this is a common thread as well. He will find her emotional, and she will not tell him why she's upset. Crazy. Anyways, but she said she didn't share that information because she did not want him to leave her.
I almost said something that was going to be so wrong. He was never there. He was never there. He was never there. Like physically, maybe.
Because they were never together. They were never together. The more I hear her talk, the more I hear you were supposed to be a jump off like everybody else. And somehow, some way, you were the one jumping through hoops more than everybody else to remain close to him. And he was like, look, anybody would, look, if I'm gonna find me a lap dog, I'm gonna find me a lap dog. Fuck, I feel like, why should I treat, and I mean, I am not empathizing with fucking Derek Jackson. That nigga is a whole fucking demon. That is a whole fucking demon. And I need him to get to a clinic fast. Quick, fast, and in a hurry.
No one. I want everybody to leave here understanding that we do not defend any of his practices in this relationship.
Because to me, at this point, it's both of them. Like, what kind of person are you to do this to people? What kind of person are you to be dragging your dick through everybody and everything? Like, clearly you have no self-respect. And it has nothing to do with being promiscuous or having sexual liberation and doing with your body what you want. This man seems like he was slanging dirty dick everywhere. And even though she is right for manipulation, that does not mean you take advantage of people.
Right.
However, if you gonna make it this fucking easy, why would someone not? Outside of them having personal integrity, morals, and values, if you come across your average manipulative black man on the street in 2010 at the age of 20 and 19, what do you think is going to happen?
Right.
But as we go along further in this, I'm going to show y'all she is, I'm sorry, I had to say she's kind of like single white female. Like, someone check the stove, because I'm pretty sure something's going on. But like, I don't want to be rude, and this may be Jose talking, but she is batshit crazy.
Indeed.
Like, and I said it earlier, I think she would have been like this with any person she was in a relationship with, any man that gave her attention, no matter what archetype of male that he was, she was going to act like this. And I think if she met her match with Derek, because Derek seems so nonchalant.
Yep.
I'm not gonna play into your obsession. I'm just gonna be like, either you're gonna fuck me or not.
Right.
But if she had I don't even know who I could say, but if she had a man that was an emotional, nice guy that was pretending to be that way, but he was actually abusive, this could have been 10 times worse.
It could have been.
I don't know if there was any DV physically involved, but
and you know what? You know what? If it did, the interviewer definitely didn't try to dig deep about it, because
didn't ask no follow-up questions, no tangent questions, nothing, and laughed the whole time.
Laughed the whole time with her. She also has this thing about herself where she is very full of herself, as if the rest of us are wrong for having our opinion in reference to her. We haven't gotten there yet, but that's the part that got me. Like, it's not my fault. You know, Google is free. Like, that kind of stuff. Google was free when you needed help defining words. Like monogamy. Like commitment.
I think she is smug and condescending only in a way only educated people can be smug and condescending. But it's funny because she don't know when she being stupid. That's the thing about me. Like, you can be smug and condescending. And I mean, I guess she has enough self-awareness to know when she was being stupid, but she don't understand, like, you still stupid. So after this whole sex tape thing happens, they're talking about the engagement. I don't know how we jumped from 19 to 20, 8, but we did. Everybody's so creative. And so apparently this is the time point where we talk about how they were not together when they got engaged. So basically what had happened was they were moving to Atlanta together. I don't know why, but that was what they were doing. They started moving from North Carolina to Atlanta. So she claims that she was hostile towards him and God saved her mouth. During this time they weren't together, they were still having sex. She was
watching. She was
in the
passing
hallway, shifts. Mm-hmm. She was during the rotation. She had gotten pregnant. This is in Atlanta, but previous to them moving to Atlanta, she had 3 abortions. She didn't really talk about when those pregnancies happened, how far apart they were, how long she was. Did he know? Did he make her get an abortion? We don't fucking know. The interviewer didn't ask. She knew he was having sex with other women while she was pregnant. There was an incident happening where I guess it's the part where she was getting saved and whatever she was doing. She calls his mom to basically say, I don't got 7 more years in me. I don't know what 7 years was in you because you said it was a situationship. I don't know what the fuck going on. And then so his mama talks to him. He calls her mama to ask for her hand in marriage. Her mama called her to say he asked for your hand in marriage, and they were both confused because they weren't even together. And so I want to talk about this, and we probably got to come back because again, we're going down the timeline of the interview, and the interview wasn't succinct. So what I think we get more information about. Let me look at my notes. Let me go ahead a little bit, make sure. So we're going to actually watch what she says about the engagement. Let me just go ahead and play that. And we're going to have to discuss about the confusion around her getting engaged while they're not together.
Yes.
And how all that came to be. And we're gonna get into my theory about why he proposed and why she was so happy that she's Mrs. Jackson, you know. Sorry, y'all, I had to.
That conversation didn't go well. So ever since then, it's just been like a battle between them, and I've kind of been in the middle of it. And it created a lot of anxiety in the relationship. So I actually isolated from my family a little bit and just kind of was doing my thing, being grown and being involved with his family mostly.
And so you get a tip that he's going to propose. How did he propose?
All of our family was there. All his family was there. My mom and my brother flew in, and we had like a little housewarming party because we had just moved into a new house. And
so y'all got back together then. So after the tip off, how did he come back around and say, hey, can we be back together?
So my lease was up in my apartment, and so we were actually technically still off, but I didn't have anywhere. I'm like, if my lease is up, I'm not about to renew it, so I'm either going back to Denver or I'm coming to stay with you. I want you to be here for the baby's birth, and it was right around the time that she was going to be born, so we need to figure this out. So I ended up moving in basically with him in the house that he was in, and we never really officially said like we're back together. It was just like implied we're back together, you know? So there's never a conversation like, yes, we're doing this.
We go together, circle yes or no.
It was just like, we're together. And so that's how that happened. And then I got the call and I was like, okay, we're together. And we're rolling with that. And it felt great. I was all on board with it. I was excited. He called my mom.
He called your mama.
What?
Humility.
Right. And so that's how that happened. And so all of our family came in and we were celebrating this housewarming because we just moved into this new house. So the plot was, we're celebrating the housewarming, but everybody else knew, hey, engagement, but little I knew too. And so he had the song play, and it was like right before midnight, and it came on, and he gets down on one knee and he's like proposing to me, and I'm like, oh my God.
It was all this pain I went through.
Yes,
it's
paying off.
Yeah, it's paying off. Weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning.
All the joy.
That was your morning.
All the joy.
Yeah.
You know, the bragging that I did.
My man.
Mrs. Jackson. Okay, Mrs. Jackson. Okay, if you're nasty. That was my thought.
That's your thought process.
Listen, I got saved you know.
Miss Jackson, if you're nasty.
But yeah, the bragging that I did, right? And so it was great. Like, it was like everything is coming. I'm having a family now. I'm gonna be married. I had our baby already. She was 2 months by the time that happened, and she had this little "Will you marry me?"
Are you talking about, so when he proposed, you already had the child?
Yeah, I had our baby.
2
She was 2 months old. He had her in this little "Will you marry me" bib. It was great. Like, everything was involved, and it was great. I loved it, every aspect of it. And it's like, this is everything I've wanted and been asking for and dreaming of my whole life. And just through this relationship, and I won out of all these women.
You about to say another word?
The Lord is bridling my tongue. I am. He is bridling my tongue. I won out of all these women, so here I am. You know, so it almost gave me like this false sense of confidence and accomplishment, right?
Yeah.
And so, but you couldn't tell me that at the time. So,
and at the time, we put this in perspective. You're about what, 28, 27?
Yeah, I was like, right. I had just celebrated my 28th birthday.
Yeah, and so you're 28 years old, and then so now, how long did it take from "Will you marry me" to "I do"?
It was right at a year. So we got married January 13th, 2018. And that was a long year before marriage. There's a lot of stuff that went on in there. We tried some marital counseling. We did not finish that. There was,
You said premarital counseling?
Premarital counseling.
Y'all didn't finish our premarital counseling?
No.
Why not?
Ari.
At 28, your brain is already developed, right? Everything is developed.
Listen, time out. I'm saying I stopped right there because I actually wanted to go forward a couple of minutes, but I wanted to get your thoughts about that because, girl.
Oh my God.
She really was my man. That is not your man.
MRS, not MS. Right, girl.
And it is like, yes, your brain should be developed by now.
Your brain develops at 25. Women are supposed to be more mature than men, right? That's what scientists say. I don't understand how she didn't pick up on none of this. We weren't together. My lease was up in Atlanta. And I decided to say this. Well, I'm not going to renew my lease. So, I would love for you to be a part of the baby being born, but that means I'm going to have to stay with you. Jeez, because I can't renew my lease. I can't do another 12 months.
Every time she talks about them moving together, it's always like, it was never like he asked her to be there or she even asked to be there. It was like, oh, well, the circumstances, so it makes the most sense. Well, let me see if I have any notes before we get to this next timestamp because, so that's also, I'm going to keep pointing out these red flags and these outs. This whole thing about how they didn't finish their premarital counseling, after you'd have been through that, because again, like we said, she over 25 at this point. She's 28, which means they've been together for 7 years. And you've never known peace.
Not even 7. It would be close to 10 years since they've known each other because she's 28 and she met when they were 19.
Y'all, I'm tired. Let me see.
Yeah.
So she's like in therapy. They stopped because it was a lot for him. She told him some of her trauma that she had never shared with him. It was a lot for him to handle. Those were her words, verbatim. A lot for him to handle. Then she's going to the gym. This is the part where she's trying to get her body right amidst, I don't know what the fuck. She's trying to get her body right. She has a male trainer and he's jealous and saying that she's cheating on him because she's the male trainer. This was the part where I could say, okay, so he may be someone who is actively gaslighting her and been saying whatever it takes to keep her on the hook. So that was like my little peek. Maybe he could have been this entire time saying like, no, I choose you. I want you. These other girls don't mean anything, blah, 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 blah. So she changes her trainer because she took it upon herself. didn't want to disturb him or whatever. She said she changed her trainers, but he didn't ask her to change trainers. She said that this triggered toxic behavior. What she was referring to of triggering toxic behavior was them being in premarital counseling. She said she was disrespectful and ungrateful and not appreciating all the changes that he has done. At this point, the change is going to premarital counseling and living together and being engaged. That was his changed behavior. That's what it was. Them being engaged. That's his changed behavior.
Yes. Can I say this though? Amanda in the chat said, "Why did they marry them when they didn't marry them?" Because she could have been getting married by somebody else, and they chose an independent person to do their premarital counseling. Because you're right, most ministers, if they're doing the premarital counseling and it's not completed, they will not marry. So maybe that's how.
I think this is the part where I think we're kind of get manipulated unless like their Christianity journey timeline is off. Because at this point, I don't think either of them are deeply religious.
No.
And I think she initially was the one that was on the whole Jesus train, and he only got on it when that whole thing with Tasha K came out. I could be wrong though.
I'm still working on
this summer. I need y'all to make this. Okay.
What is it?
All this is just blended up watermelon juice, lemon and lime juice, your choice of liquor, and then if you want to add, like last night I did Tito's and Prosecco, and this is Jose and sweet white wine. This tastes like a liquid Starburst, but also, you know, you might give up some coochie drinking this. I'm gonna let y'all know now. For y'all 21 and over, drink responsibly. You know.
A mess.
Back on task. This is a mess. Okay, let me see what else. And her sharing her trauma was also a trigger for him. That's also a red flag. As a trauma-filled person, if you bring up your trauma, make someone disinterested in you or look at you different or start treating you bad, move the fuck around. I'm gonna leave it at that. So this is gonna be a 7-minute clip, and then we'll get in the video too. I think I only have, yeah.
All of my notes really come from video too, because all she did was paint a picture of why I was going to be upset, and then really went into what I needed to hear to become upset. With him, with her, with the interviewer, it was just a lot.
I'm gonna let it play because I need y'all to hear this shit. I really do, because she unhinged, Derek unhinged, the interviewer unhinged. Like you said, they just all unhinged.
Nobody knows what's going on.
Get some more drink. So
I got another trainer, Serena, and she got my whole life together after that. But yes, that became the focus. There was a lot of issues that came from that, and pretty much triggered the toxic behavior in him. Pretty much triggered the toxic behavior in him to where now we have all these things going on in our marriage. So,
such as you said, triggered what? You said that triggered what? To accuse you of infidelity, to give him a pass to cheat on you.
Essentially. Like, so me bringing up all these things and then him feeling or accusing me of having this relationship with a trainer, which I did not have, but allowed him basically like, okay, I'm being like in his mind, I'm being disrespectful, I'm being unappreciative, but he's done all this changing and actually asked for me to marry him, and here I go, you know, just bringing up all this stuff from the past, you know. And
would you say he was on his best behavior during that time?
Define best behavior. Okay. So if we're talking about, yeah, so we have to define best behavior.
Okay, we're gonna define it as not messing with other women at this point.
Okay, we're gonna have to define that too. Okay, so I'll put it this way. Were there women that he had still had contact with in some way, that he's had a sexual relationship with or some sort, those people were always there. That he was always constantly having at least a minimum a dialogue with them.
Okay.
Like if they were friends.
And was it discussed that he would no longer have those conversations with people in whom he had sexual relationships with?
No, so that wasn't discussed until after I left the marriage for 8 months. That wasn't discussed until after that. So, but going into marriage, no, there was not really a dialogue about like, hey, all these people that you've had a relationship with or whatever in the past, like all of them need to cut out. You ain't no friends. There was no dialogue about that. I didn't have any boundaries
Right.
or barriers.
I didn't even know what that was.
I didn't even know what a boundary was.
Exactly.
Like, what is that? I didn't have any standard, or like, I didn't even know that was a thing that you can actually request or not even request, that you implement, you know? So, yeah, I had there was none of that. So was there people that he had at least at minimum a conversation with, that he has had sex with or has some type of dealings with? Those people had always been there at minimum in conversation form. As far as having a sexual encounter, to my knowledge, there wasn't a whole lot going on. But then again, not too long after our premarital counseling failed, he met up with
Don't say no names
a relative. I wasn't.
Okay.
I was battling. I was thinking.
Met up with Shaniqua Thomas.
Right, a relative, and supposed to like a distant relative. It's like one, like, you know, their cousin married my dad, so that's my cousin type of thing situation. But like a relative, essentially claiming as a relative, they met up, this is somebody that he had a conversation, or like sexual conversations with and things like that in the past.
Sexual conversations. They didn't have sex.
He says that they had never had sex. It didn't go past their sexual conversations and things like that. But they did meet up not too long after the marital counseling. The premarital counseling that we had. So
you don't know what happened. If anything happened, they just met up to
right. So outside of that, I don't know. When something did happen, let's see, that was like a couple weeks before we got married. And I didn't even think we were gonna get married because it was such a big blow up. And so he got his hair cut by a girl that he used to have sex with, and she posted a picture on Instagram with hearts. He was standing behind her, and there's hearts surrounding them, and I lost it on him. I lost it. I did not use any kind of biblical words at all. And I didn't even know biblical words at that time. So I lost it. And, you know, at that point, it kind of triggered, like, he was like, you don't trust me. Like, you're supposed to be able to trust me. Like, I'm not even I needed my haircut because I'm trying to make a living for us. Like, this is important. There was nobody else available. And I'm like, you didn't even tell me about this. At minimum, you tell me that you have to get a haircut, and you didn't even do that. Not only did you not do that, you hid it from me. You sent the haircut appointment confirmation to the work email, and I'm running your emails. What kind of, right? And so it was at that point where I blew up, where I was like, okay, I need to get help. I got to figure out myself. And I actually got therapy. I got 3 therapists.
You got 3? Why you need 3?
I needed all 3. All 3 of them.
I got one of them miss something, the other one pick it up.
Exactly.
Miss something.
Yes. And I did that for about 3 months until I settled on one. And then I was with her for about 1.5 years. Yes.
So you said this was a couple of weeks before y'all said I do?
Yes.
And then after you got over that, y'all just decided to go ahead and get married at the same time. Y'all didn't change the date 2 weeks later.
Yeah, no, we did not change the date. We still got married 3 weeks later. We did it. I was pregnant actually with our son. Nobody really knew I was pregnant because I wasn't really showing that much. And I didn't tell a whole lot of people.
So you're pregnant with the second child?
Yes, our son. And so yeah.
And so now you get pregnant. It's a trip. You're getting pregnant in trauma. It's like the first time you got pregnant, you're passing women down the stairwell or passing them as you leave. Y'all making y'all D appointments.
Yeah,
and so then you end up getting pregnant. You said 8 o'clock. That was your standing appointment. 8 o'clock. On what day was it?
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. You know, listen, before that her song came out about, you know, only on the weekend, listen, that was already going on.
That was already going on in your life.
I had to renounce that. By the way, that is not okay behavior. I do not endorse that behavior. I'm just testifying.
You're testifying right now. And so you had your standing appointment, and then you end up getting pregnant, and then I don't know what motivated him, but he will have to tell that story, or what made him decide, well, let me marry her.
Yeah, I'm not sure what really prompted him.
Was his family that told him that? Did he always promise himself that he'll never have a kid out of wedlock? I don't know what his journey is.
Well, I don't know like all of his story, but from just some conversations that we had, it was like when we were in college, I always said that I would leave and go back to Denver if like certain situations happen. I'm leaving, I'm taking the baby with me, and I think that scared him. So I think it was like, okay, he's living his best life, and I'm sitting up here allowing it, right? Because I'm a willing participant, and so he's almost in fear that I'm going to leave, because now I've sat down and had a conversation with his mom, and I'm like, I don't have 7 years, additional years to give him. I'm tired of doing this life
And you know,
with
his mama
him.
told him to say, baby.
Right. And I believe she did, because he brought that up to me like, man, you told my mom this. And I'm like, how do you, okay, your mom clearly told you that. So cool. So clearly there was a conversation, but I don't know that necessarily that motivated him per se. But I think it was a combination of like his mom told him what I said. And then whatever I said in college, where I'm like, I will leave you or whoever, I will leave and take this baby with me and go back to Colorado and have my mama and my people out there help me raise this child. We've been doing it, you know, that mentality.
Yeah.
And he was like, he can't have that. He wants to be involved and all that. So I think all of those at least played a factor into it.
All right, y'all. Whew. So, I forgot to change the screen. So, we're going to keep hearing about these threats to leave throughout their whole entire relationship. But I want to point out it started in college. So, which makes me think, did she get pregnant in college and have an abortion in college? Because if you've been threatening to raise children by yourself with your family in Colorado since high school, since college, I'm inclined to suspect one of these abortions happened when they was in college. But also, she kept saying, I'm gonna leave. She just never left.
What stood out to me is the fact that she said, I was a willing participant.
She was. That's what I said. She's self-aware enough to know her thought process back then, but she's not aware enough to understand how she's still acting like that. I think her therapist told her that.
I've never had 3 therapists. I've only ever had one, right? I've had 2 different therapists, but I mean, I had it consistently with that one person, then went to another therapist. So the fact that you had 3 and you didn't learn anything is mind-boggling to me. The fact that he had sex with the girl that cut his hair weeks before your marriage, and you still did it anyway, mind-boggling. But he changed.
Changed what? I really think the thing that she thinks is changed behavior is him being engaged to her. I think she thinks that the engagement comes with the commitment. I don't think she understood that was sold separately.
Remember, she needs help defining certain words. Like, she said she didn't know what boundaries meant. She didn't know that was something that you were supposed to have. I mean, we can easily tell that you don't have any boundaries. The fact that you were willing to be out on the street is he decided not to say, yeah, come on, you can just stay with me. Fuck it. Let's just stay together.
The part that got me is after we had this conversation about what's happening leading up to the wedding, she goes on to say, we had our dream wedding. At her dream wedding, she was 6 months pregnant. He was drunk at the altar. He was so drunk that she could taste the liquor on his tongue. It looked so pretty. It was so nice. I wore a pretty white dress. There were pretty white flowers. There was this really good cake. And like the buffet potatoes were to die for. And the DJ was kind of cool, but he kind of played the edited version. The flower girl's hair was really, really cute. It was so cute. Our baby, who was also 6 months, the baby would have been a year and a half. Our baby was our flower girl, and she looked so cute. And my bridesmaids in their dresses and their hair and their makeup, oh my God, the pictures were to die for. But also, we went on our honeymoon. He didn't talk to me the entire time. He was on his phone the entire time. But other than that, the treatment was great. I was basically a Real Housewife of Atlanta without being on the show. We had this great honeymoon. The room service was amazing. I ate by myself the entire time. I got to buy jewelry and stuff. I felt like a Disney princess, but my prince was nowhere to be found. And we came back home and he started fucking other bitches again. That's what I heard. What did you hear? Because that's what I heard. I also heard that this entire time, because they snuck this in at the end, I think they're going to bring it back in before we talk about how there was actually no marital bliss at all, but it was a nice wedding. There was no bliss in the relationship, the courtship process, all 7 years. There was no bliss at the engagement. There was no bliss that whole entire engagement year. There was no bliss at the perfect dream wedding, and there was no marital bliss. For what fucking reason? For what fucking reason? The only way, because I don't believe this whole you can be dickmatized to do certain things, okay? 84% of y'all aren't even having orgasms with the niggas y'all sleep with, so do not try to sit here and lie to me about dickmatization. As a woman who has had a past before marriage, I have had plenty of good dick, okay? I'm not, this may be the Jose and the wine talking. I am not wasting my time having mediocre sex with anybody. And there is some witness test you have to go through before you even get cheats. So I'm not wasting time on bad dick. With all the good dick I have ever gotten in my life, okay, I have done a lot of this shit. Absolutely the fuck not. There is no good dick good enough in the fucking world to lower my self-esteem to this fucking depth. I have never got my back blown out and my cervix rearranged well enough to subject myself to this rat race over this mediocre face nigga. I'm sorry.
Never have I ever.
And this is maybe the privilege in me because, again, this was her first fine nigga. I've had plenty of fine niggas. Ain't never acted like this. And ain't never seen a point in acting like this over anybody. I don't care how fine you are, how much money you have, how educated you might be. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. He making you act like this? For what? So I don't want to hear, oh, what's some good dick? Ain't no dick good enough on this planet. What was it? I think personally, I'm not a psychiatrist. I think it's because she needs to be in inpatient therapy. I think
that sounds like a good idea.
I think she something is not right up there. That's the only explanation for it. But then again, I think about how many Danae Jacksons there are in our community.
It's a lot of them.
Is this like epigenetics?
Apparently enough for her to think that she can make courses. She has courses.
This
so
bitch
you know,
give me directions to the bathroom. I don't want any advice from you. I don't want to hear anything that you have to say. But let's get on to part 2, because before this ends, she did say that throughout this whole entire process, she basically helped him build his career. And build his career meaning doing all the back behind the scenes, everything for this man. Again, I'm not condoning you take advantage of people, especially when they're this level of delusion. No. But if I'm an abuser, this is like this is it. This I have found what I am looking for.
He should have felt bad that
she gonna fuck me raw. She gonna get abortions whenever she need to get an abortion. She gonna see these women coming in and out and not say anything about it. I'm gonna take her on tour and have them sit on my lap and not say anything about it. And she ain't gonna say nothing. And she's gonna do my taxes, make my contracts, check my email, and be a house bitch. Like, why would what man wouldn't jump at the chance? Like, let's be fucking for real here. Is it sad? Yes. Do I want it to stop? Yes. Should we all be better people? Absolutely. But if I'm an abuser, she don't never leave. I can do whatever the fuck I want. When you think about this, is exactly what the dusty ass niggas on wherever platform you're on. This is what they're fighting for us all to be.
Yep.
They want us to be smart and educated, but not use our degree against them. Help them out at the start of the relationship and keep helping them the fuck out with every fucking thing. Allow them to be unfaithful and talk to you however they can talk to you, and you not say anything. Have sex with them even though they're dirty dick with no fucking protection. Get abortions whenever the fuck he says get an abortion. And jump through hoops trying to be the other women you're fucking around with. What man would not love that? I need me one of those. I might treat her better, but like, let's move on because we might need to do a part 2 because I don't know if I can sit here and do the rest of this. I'm gonna be honest with you.
No, because I've been holding back. I'm trying to tell you that once you get to video 2, it's done. I want to read one thing that I said because you may not had this
you have a timestamp.
No.
Damn.
But remember when she said, like, God told me, not to worry about therapy, that I need to seek him. I said this. This was I'm reading it just how I said it. Girl, shut up. God would never tell you not to go seek mental health.
So there was a part in part 2 where in part 1, we were talking about how she got 3 therapists. And let me see if I think I may have written notes about that. Let me find them. Hold on. Because I was like, what the fuck is she talking about? Or that may have been we stopped and discussed in the live. Was that in the beginning? Where she talked about how she stopped going to therapy and started going to church?
No, I think she started talking. It could have been in part 1, but I think part 2 she talks about it the most.
Okay, so I think the leading up to that, I'll just go through this. I think that's the whole lead up. So they get married 2018. February 2020, back up the truck. So this is where she's like, can we define what marital bliss is? So there was no wedded bliss. It was the same behavior. The first year, they almost didn't make it. He was in contact with sexual partners. He had sex with new and more women. They went on tour and no one knew she was his wife. People were holding her back from confrontations. She went to therapy in the first year to change her behavior. And then that's when she talks about how he mentioned, this is like, I think kind of like in the midst of him becoming a bigger YouTube or like social media influencer and content creator. So that was, we could talk about that that was a throwaway. Because again, the interview wasn't in chronological order. We were just here, there, and everywhere whenever we got there.
Wherever she wanted to talk about, that's what they talked about.
So she went to Denver for 8 months. She went there in February of 2020 because I guess she had enough of him. So that's basically a year and 4 months into their marriage. She leaves because she was going through too much. I guess there was too many women, too too many sex tapes.
Remember, they also had a condo that he tended to stay a lot of his time there.
So, she makes him choose whether he wants to be at the condo or be at their 9,000 square foot mansion. So basically what had happened was he said that he needed more space to do content creation. So he got an apartment in Midtown Atlanta. And so she said he basically was at the condo 3 to 4 nights a week, not at the house. Remember, she was pregnant with her second child at the wedding, so now she got 2 toddlers, and he at the condo. So this is when she started experiencing her spiritual warfare, and she started seeing her daughter being elevated out of her crib and floating in the air and being dropped back down. And so she was like, I'm upset. I can't take this no more. I'm going to Denver. I'm taking the kids. She packs up a U-Haul or a Suburban. Who the fuck knows? The interviewer didn't ask what she took with her, how she got hurt, how she drove from Atlanta, Georgia to Denver, Colorado with 2 toddlers by her fucking self. I think she said her mom came. That may be what was happening.
Her mom came.
So this is in November 2020. At this time, while she's driving, her phone is turned off because they're having a financial crisis for 3 or 4 days, even though there's a Lamborghini in the driveway of the 9,000 square foot mansion, while Derek at the condo in Midtown. So her phone was turned off. And so she had made the pilgrimage up the mountain to Denver. First of all, I'll save that comment for where I get through with the rest of this. So she's driving to Denver. Lo and behold, when she get there, Derek's sitting at her mama old crib because he done bought himself a flight from Atlanta, Georgia to Denver, Colorado, and he meets her there. And she says when she gets to Colorado, she's a mess. She's the skinniest she's ever been. She's malnourished. She had to be nursed back to health because she wasn't eating or sleeping. She was a shell of herself. She was sitting in closets watching the videos of other women watching their tattoos, counting their stretch marks, hair typing their curls and shit, talking about I knew their body better than I knew myself, and I just had
when she said that. Can we speak on that?
Try to imitate them in looks and in sex, so she would watch them and try to change her hair, change her outfits, go work out and get a bigger booty. I don't fucking know. Then she did this little gok move, so I'm gonna do this gok move, just foreign, and she couldn't deal with it. She couldn't deal with it anymore. So February 2020, she go to Denver. He meets her there. He's like, "Oh my God, you gotta come back." I don't know why he said that because again, we don't know.
But can I say one thing about the knowing people's bodies better than she knew her own?
Listen.
That speaks to her self-image issues. Because understand, hun, you gave him 2 babies. No, you don't look 19 years old anymore. You don't.
But she had already had body images since at 19. So that wasn't the babies really didn't do much for that.
Right. But what I'm saying is that's what she brought, that's how she's looking at them.
This is stronger than the other one.
Tasty. Go ahead. Cause
don't tell me you're on the bottom of hell. I'm just being real out here, okay?
She made it very clear that God gave the devil the permission to bring her through all of this. And remember, she told him before she went to Colorado that he has demons in him and he needs to be delivered so their family can be better. Because she was going to get delivered and he was going to be delivered.
That whole story about how she was cursing at him, talking about she got a demon and he had to call her mama to come get her. I'm like, ain't no fucking way this happened. There is no way in heaven or hell you was doing this much. What was going on in that home? But all that to say, she had said God sent her to go climb that mountain and leave her husband, and she was in Denver for 8 months.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess through her nursing herself back to health, I guess she thought he changed because he would fly there once a week, even though that's how much he seen her when she was living down the street at the 9,000 square foot mansion. And so then we get into the conversation about her daughter and her skin tone. Because again, we all types are all over the place. Because we're going to come back to that person video, but I guess we can do that. So October of that year, 2022, 2020, that's what I 2020, get my notes together. They moved to Texas. Because they needed a new start, be somewhere where the hoes weren't. And
like, that's not another population of women that watches his videos. Like,
please,
these women from Texas never flew to Atlanta to go to one of his meet and greets. Like, these bitches ain't never watched a YouTube video or a Instagram reel. Like, girl, be for real.
But not even that. It's like, again, like, I think she believes with her whole heart that if we can just get the external circumstances together, he'll act right. And it's like, girl, you're going through all this stress because he is choosing this behavior. But to put more perspective, the whole debacle with Tasha K and all that happened in March of 2021.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when she did the whole Helmet of Salvation video. Let me put the let me put the timeline back together for y'all, because I want y'all to see the delusion. The delusion. Time markers. Marriage. January 2018. Right? When did we do Denver? Denver is February 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Moved to Texas with Derek October 2020. Scandal and bonnet situation March 2021. And I want y'all to keep that timeline. Mind you, the first year of marriage, she said, it was horrible. What were you going to say about the timeline? I had to make it.
You just mentioned 20.
Your mic is breaking up. Not your AirPods are voting against you. You're muted now.
How about now?
Yeah, let me adjust your mic sound. It's a little low, but I can do that on the StreamYard now. Okay, I think you're
Can you hear
good.
me now?
Yes.
Okay. This is what you also left out. She's pregnant again.
Oh, yeah. She's 8 weeks pregnant in March 2021. See. With her third child.
Mm-hmm.
Let me get these dates together. They get engaged. She's 2 months pregnant. She said at the wedding, the baby was how old? Do you remember how old the baby was?
Her oldest
daughter.
Her oldest was 2 months. 2 months when they got engaged.
At the engagement, they got married a year later. So she's she's like 14 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then at the wedding,
she was pregnant again.
Let me write this down because okay, hold on. Baby one, I think was born. They got engaged in January. So I think the baby was born in November of 16. The wedding, the engagement was January 17. The wedding was January 18. She was 6 months pregnant.
I think.
So the baby would have been born April 18.
Because she got on the road to go to Colorado in November.
Okay, so she was pregnant when she left for Colorado. No. She had two kids. Wait.
She had two kids.
Colorado.
So she had an infant and a toddler.
So Colorado was February 2020. Texas, October 2020. Bonnet March 21. And she was 8 weeks pregnant.
And I also wanted to bring up how shady this man is because, one, the name of the episode, and two, the fact that he kept calling it the Bonnet video.
He did. He's disrespectful. He's disrespectful.
I didn't understand. Like, so you're going to continue to kick her while she down? All right, bet.
I can't. So here's what this timeline tells me. We already know this whole bitch was just a clusterfuck since fucking 2010. We just know.
Mm-hmm.
But she, first of all, baby number 1 is pregnancy number 4. Perspective, I guess.
Right.
She's pregnant in 2016. Has a baby at the end of 2016. Gets engaged. Gets married at the beginning of 2018. Well, she's pregnant. She has a baby shortly after. Her first year of marriage, first of all, she's pregnant and has an infant going through premarital counseling where this nigga just checks the fuck out. He said, fuck this and fuck you too and your pregnant ass. He sure as hell did. So she goes to a wedding, has this dream wedding without the dreams, and this horrible honeymoon without the honey. Pops out a baby. She's going through so much strife that a year and some change after having her second child, she leaves. So she got like a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. She leaves and goes to Colorado because she's emaciated and malnourished because she's just beside herself. So she's gone for 8 months. Meanwhile, he's being there 2 to 4 times a month. And then they decide that they would move to Texas together. And not even 6 months later, she's pregnant again. And another scandal now the biggest scandal thus far has come out with him with all these different women and knowing how he lives. Which, like, if we go back, oh my God, if we go back and listen to their stories, like, of course they knew what the condo looked like. Of course he didn't act like he had a wife. But all this, and so at this juncture in the interview, we've gotten to the Bonnet video, which is the latest incident in the timeline, because, he don't want to do anything. The interviewer doesn't want to do anything chronologically for whatever reason.
Right.
So I think I think we're all caught up until we get to the whole talk about the dark-skinned daughter. I mean, I don't really think it needs to be beat with a dead horse. I just thought it was really weird to look at your child and see the women that he has had sex with that are not her mother. I thought that was really weird for me, but
can I say the quote that she said?
Please, because I don't have any quotes. I was sitting here looking at the screen like, what?
She said, and I quote, this is from her, that it was like she carried the baby, but it was their baby. by their baby, she means Derek and the girl that he normally likes to be around.
Girl.
She just carried it. Almost like a surrogate.
Girl, let me tell you something. If we don't get her a straight jacket, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do with her.
I just find it hard. I mean, I know that this happens, that there are mothers that are jealous of their daughters. But the reason why you're jealous of your daughter is something that she could not help. She could not help that you decided to stay with this man knowing that he was going to continue to do this to you. And did you always think of your daughter in that way? Because your daughter has been dark-skinned way before age 4. She didn't become dark-skinned. Like, that happened.
See, with the interview, I have no idea when she started thinking this, how old her child was, when she started getting therapy. We don't know any of these things, because this could have been like when she's, you know, like maybe she's 1 when this is happening. Maybe it's like, I don't know. We don't know, because the interviewer didn't ask us follow-up fucking questions. Men shouldn't do interviews like this. I don't think.
You know, he's still working with his own trauma of his own infidelity. Because he, too, like Derek Jackson, was throwing it to any girl he could throw it at. And he said that out of his mouth in this interview. So the fact that she decided to go to him makes no sense to me.
Again, this is another tick in the side for pick me. You were receiving interviews, which I would perceive would be a lot of interviews, and you wanted to go on this Christian man's podcast. And you allowed yourself to be made a mockery of, because even though I'm not on her side, but if you're going to interview somebody about their damn trauma, at least don't laugh at them. Like, at least.
But when I said it, when I was texting you, no, we gotta try. Like, you can't just sit there and be like, you don't like her. You gotta try. Like, and now all of a sudden, because
you know what, I'm not gonna hold you. I hadn't listened to part 2. When I was listening to part 2 today with y'all, that was the first time I had sat there and listened to it all the way through on this. I told you she lost me. She lost me. I said I'm gonna give her the first 5 minutes, and she lost me. She lost me.
You know what? You're right. So I apologize for what I just said.
It was my own ignorance. I spoke too soon.
Because you didn't see the second part. I did and you didn't, and I was done. I was like, whatever you said.
I was trying to have her back, and now I'm like, yeah, I can't even do it, homie. I can't do it. But we don't get into this part about her. What were we talking about earlier? Her religious superiority, more of her fucking delusion, and her cursing all of us, even though we didn't even do nothing.
I mean, you can't lie on somebody that gets on a camera, hits record, says, I've cheated on my wife several times. I've cheated. And then turn around and say, your children gonna beg for the rest of their lives because you lying on my husband. Nobody lied on your husband. Nobody lied on that man.
It really was like, I'm trying to figure out who was slandering this man. Because quiet as kept, she dropped more tea than we ever even knew about. Because we're going to get to, what was it? We'll probably get to it. I think I timestamped it. I did timestamp it. We'll get there because I don't remember her words correctly. And I want to rewatch it before I make my comments about just how many women there were. Because it seems like you need to have a deeper relationship with you and a clinician.
My thing is, how did we lie when you were in college and you were pregnant or whatever you got pregnant you were watching women walk out of the house as you're walking in, that you have a rotation every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. How dare you then get online with your beret and decide to say, because y'all lied? No, ma'am, we didn't lie. We didn't. You've been knowing about this for 10 years. This man has been cheating on you. So we ain't lying on him. We're trying to feel sorry for you at this point because we didn't know
I was
that
really
story.
trying. I was really trying because quiet as kept, when this whole thing first came out back then, I was like, I don't know if I feel bad for her because you're doing a lot when there's a lot of women saying a lot of things that are lining up together. So back then, before I even knew anything, I was like, I don't really know, because it's like, to me, even if I didn't know until then, if there are 10 women coming out at once and they all 10 of them have the same story about how he approached them, how he dated them, how he had sex with them, and the places that he had sex with them, and they were all saying, oh, this is what his home looks like. To me, like, I don't care if I just found out 5 minutes ago, nigga, I'm not standing by you.
No.
I'm not doing any of that. So for me, it was a little sketchy. And then she came out with that whole weight loss course. Like, girl, your weight loss plan is depression and being stressed the fuck out to where you can't
not healthy.
I know an anorexic person when I see them. I'm not new to this. I'm true to this. So for me, I've always been side-eyeing, but the more she opened her mouth for me, the sympathy flew out the window.
Not everything is a testimony, because the last time I checked, I haven't been to church in a while, but I grew up in church and my grandma Shirley taught me this. A testimony is supposed to be what you were delivered from. So it's supposed to be the trial, right? And you're going through all of the things that you have been through, but God took you out. And now I'm letting you know that you don't have to go through none of this. Ma'am, this is not a testimony. This is you telling business that nobody asked for.
That part.
That's just like a wino coming into the church telling us how, he gets his wine when he don't have money. So, that's what I mean. Like, you're doing a lot.
She stressed me out, this whole thing. We're gonna get into this whole bonnet and cursing video. I got timestamps, so I think the bonnet video is first. She's gonna talk about how that came about. Then we're gonna go to a clip about the cursing video that came out like a year or so after that. Yeah, and then we're gonna get into the whole divorce.
Where Coco and I have, the funny thing is we have a difference of opinion, but the reason is the same reason.
How are we different?
We're different because I feel like if I was a judge and I did all of my research, if I was his lawyer, if I was his attorney, and I did good research, I'm pulling this. Your Honor, she been knew he was cheating.
But that's where the actual lawyer brain comes in. I may be a little tipsy, but I know how to lawyer. The reason why I said that is because I don't think in any statute, prior knowledge or knowledge before marriage would negate the adultery claim. Right. I would have to see what state they filed in and such. So I mean, like, she might be a smart bitch, because you can't claim adultery if you ain't married. And I don't think, I would have to look at the law.
Yeah.
Where they live now, Texas still? Or are they somewhere else?
Yeah, she said that she's still in Texas. I don't know.
I'm gonna look it up and see. I'm gonna look it up real quick and see like what the actual statute says, and if there are defenses. Because if you can prove, because I mean, she could prove it. She said that she's seen videos, and for what we know, she know them by name and by body, so she gonna know which one was which year. And text messages, and I mean the whole Tasha K video is like you got caught cheating. So depending on what the law says, I don't know if he can beat that claim, or if prior knowledge or consent would even. I mean, consent, obviously they had a threesome, or they were like that would be something different. But this whole him having, first of all, it's real weird that to me makes him look more icky. Why do you keep filming these different women in sexual acts?
You see, you know what? I said this to my husband, and I said, it's two things. It's either he knows that she's getting these videos and he's just like, here, I'm just going to keep showing them to you so you can leave. Or he's just so full of himself and he thinks he's that guy that he has to go back. Or I have a third one. That was the only way that he can be aroused enough around her to be able to do anything with her. Let me look at
I think it's a souvenir, honestly.
That too.
Because I mean, we all know, like, there are entire Facebook groups, Reddit threads, Discords about men sharing videos and pictures of the women that they have had sex with. So that's nothing new. But I think, because again, we read into things. It's very weird that this has been a pattern of behavior that he hasn't grown out of since college when he was 19. Right. Like you're approaching your mid-30s and you're still recording yourself bagging and bedding women. Like, that's weird.
It's like the notch in his belt. I got another one, boss.
Yeah, like they used to have little black books. Now I just have a video of it. Right. But it's also like, why? Like, what are you? Like, are you? We're off on a tangent, but I'm just like, are you? It's okay. Like, are you using it to like go relive that? Are you using that? But and then again, it's also like it's only certain women. Because when we get to the part, I have a timestamp for that about how she came to find out it was 100+ women that he could remember their names, which is a lot of names to remember. Yeah. But it's like it wasn't all of them, because she had found out in therapy that had been that many women, but for the ones that he had videos of, she knew them by name. So I'm just like, what makes you, like, is it a consent thing? Like, you ask everybody and they say yes or no? Is it like your favorites? Is it like the girls that you didn't think you could bag? Or what is it?
I don't know. And the funny thing is, we would never know, because we have an interviewer that shouldn't be an interviewer. Just because you sit in front of a microphone doesn't mean that you are an interviewer. Like, I don't feel like he prepared for it. Why you didn't watch these videos?
And that's why we over here calling it Conversations with Coco, because I am not Oprah. You ain't not doing that. Let's get to this clip, because I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4 clips. But I'm stressed, y'all. I think this is the part that really had me stressed and behooved, you know? But let me start this.
Referencing was the part about you being able to show up for yourself at times when you couldn't show. I don't want to butcher what he said, but it was something about the being able to show up for yourself at times when it was hard.
So he's referencing, okay, this is how like crazy this is. He's referencing the post where I just told you guys about, where I knew her body better than I knew my own. And I had made posts and I'm like testifying like all the things I went through and all of the demonic spirits that I allowed into myself, like with just trying to do all the things that I was doing. And I said how it affected me. In that little segment of his post was referencing that, even down to our daughter. Like I had some issues, like just like with the complexion of our daughter, because that was the type of woman that he would go after. And I'm not dark, like super dark skinned woman. And our daughter's like a little chocolate little princess. She has it, you know, and I'm just like, how does she look like the women that he wants?
Wow, that's deep.
How does she look like the women that he he wants and he desires and he loves, like, you know, like, I don't understand. It's like they had her even though I carried her.
Woo!
You know what I'm saying? And so I
Hold
had
on.
to work out.
The name you gotta let that sit. You can't, Lord Jesus. You said they had her even though you had her?
They had her even though I carried her. That's what I felt like for a long time. I had to really sit down and
because her skin tone represents the type of women that he would cheat on you with.
Yes. Yes. And so it just played on the rejection and the abandonment and the not, like, choose me. What is there about me? Right? Our daughter even has everything that you like search for, or at least preference in a woman. Now, every woman wasn't dark skinned, clearly, but there's a preference in a type, and a lot of them were. And so even our daughter came out in that preference, and I'm like, you know, and that, I feel like the Lord did that intentionally so that I could really deal with that. I could really deal with that aspect and be able to teach my daughters, because I have 2 girls now, but be able to teach them, and one's lighter and one's darker, right? So I had the experience of being in this weird world where I'm trying to be these other men and all these things, but I had to really sit back and deal with that. It affected I feel like my ability to mother her and to nurture her and to just have that mother-daughter relationship that I always desired, but I didn't know how to get there because all this stuff was in the way. And so I had started telling him about that and trying to be vulnerable, because when you decide to come back, you got to be vulnerable still, even though it's scary. And so I had started telling him that. So he referenced that in his Mother's Day post. And so I'm like, I really don't know how to respond to this. I don't know that it was for me per se, as much as it may have been for, you know, image. Like, that's how I feel. Like, this is me working it out. This is me working it out. And he did, behind the scenes, he did give me a big thing of flowers and a card. But he didn't say any of those things to me directly. So I'm like, I don't understand.
And he gave that to you at your son's birthday party.
Yeah, at our son's birthday party.
The day before Mother's Day.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord Jesus. So
you're muted.
Woo, Lord Jesus is right.
I don't even know if I have any commentary, honestly. I think I said before, it's like she is not getting and understanding that you need to look at someone's words, what they're telling you, and also their actions. And the minute that they conflict, we have a problem. This man is doing everything and has been doing everything since day one to show her he does not care about her. He posts his Mother's Day post, shares private information, sensitive information about his spouse, doesn't spell her name correctly, but did all this on Instagram, but gave her some flowers and like a generic card at their son's birthday party. He doesn't give a fuck about you. Why are you trying to make fetch happen?
It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen, babes. Just let it go. She's sitting here and she's pleading. And she doesn't understand that, like, I can tell that she's still carrying it because how it's coming, how she's relaying it again. And she's like, I just wanted him to pick me. Like, what is it about me? You know what it is. You have listed what it is. So at this time, do you want to see it and go and be free of it? Or do you want to stay? Because he's not going to he wants you to make the decision and you're trying to put it on him to make the decision. Because his mind is already made up.
It worked. It worked. He eventually was like, I'm tired of your shit. I'm leaving. Well, apparently, based on the court filings, that's what it says. But let's get this other clip. And I think this is the clip about her finding religion in all of this, and somehow now she's holier than thou. I don't know how we got here, but here we are.
To define who I am, or am I going to believe God's report about who I am and what He's called me to do?
There it is.
So
So what did you, someone was telling me about the video. I was going to look for it before the interview, but I didn't want to be brainwashed and all this stuff. What did you curse? What did you say to people?
Psalm 109. I mean, literally, it is a plea for help against false accusers.
What you say? I want you to put this up.
It's a plea for help against false accusers. Okay. It says, let their children be vagabonds on the earth. Let the mercy of God be withdrawn from them. Right. My Bible at? I didn't bring my physical Bible in here. Psalm 109. Go to verse it's like 9, 10, 11. Okay.
You said you found that.
Let their children be fatherless. Let their like I'm quoting the scripture. It's a plea for help against false accusers. Now, many people
for the mouth of the wicked. Where you want me to start on verse 2?
Go. It's like what I actually said is like verse 9, 10, 11. Like,
this is good though. For the mouth of the wicked and the mouth of the deceitful are open against me.
Yes.
They have spoken against me with a lying tongue. They compassed me about also with the words of hatred and fought against me without a cause. For my love, they are my adversaries, but I give myself unto prayer. And they have rewarded me evil for good and hatred for my love. Set thou a wicked man over me, and let Satan stand at his right hand. When he shall be judged, let him be condemned, and let his prayer become sin. Let his days be few, and let another take his office. Let his children be fatherless, and his wife of a widow. Let his children be continually vagabonds and beg. Let them see. That's what I said.
That's what I said. And everybody's like, she's cursing people. I'm like, did you read your Bible? You mad because I know how to pray and you don't? Like, that is not a me problem. That's a you problem at this point.
Why you gonna curse their kids? Why you gonna say their kids gonna be vagabonds? Why you gonna do that? He said, let their children be continually vagabonds and beg. Let them seek their bread also out of their desolate places. Let the extortioner catch all that he hath, and let the stranger spoil his labor. Let there be none to extend mercy unto him, neither let there be any to favor his fatherless children. Let his posterity be cut off.
I'm quoting the word of God. We mad because I'm quoting the word of God? Seriously, that's what I want to know. Why everybody so upset because I quoted the word of God?
So you sat there and read this. Did you read this to the people, or you wrote it?
I didn't read the whole thing. I read the vagabonds, the father, let them be fatherless, because you know why? Because I knew that would get a rise out of a lot of people, and they don't read their Bible, so they don't know where it's at. But this is the word of God. When you come against God's people, He gives us words. He literally, like, we don't have to think of these prayers. They're already there in all the Psalms for every situation that we go through. When we're depressed, when we have anxiety, when we're broke, when He gives us words to say. And these are not necessarily literal words, right? So if we want to get into the theology, since I am whole master of Christian ministry at Roberts University.
For real?
Yes.
You know when it got a master's in divinity?
At 4.0.
A little nerdy stuff. Oh Lord, I don't want that smoke with you then.
So if we want to get into the actual, okay, like let's get into what I said in Psalm 109. When we look at the text, we have to look at the literary, how it was written, the literary context and all that. Well, it's not a literal meaning, right? This is an exaggeration and a plea for help, because this is describing the pain that I'm feeling on the inside of me.
Right.
But God has given me the proper words to say that will help me to stay from like sinning against my brother per se and saying something that would really condemn them like in an ungodly way. But He's giving me the words to exaggerate. He's giving me exaggerated words to express my feeling internally. And then from there, then He decides whatever He's going to do from there. So it doesn't literally mean like, oh, you're
going to say it now, everybody going to be cursed. Just because Danae said it, she just cursed everybody.
Right. And so when we get into actually studying the word of God and like, again, like the literary and the theology part of it, it's not a literal meaning of that. So we have to look at the literary context and all of that to understand that this is an exaggeration. We're using hyperbole and simile, which some people don't know what that is. So I highly recommend Google search.
Let my adversaries be clothed with shame, and let them cover themselves with their own confusion as with a mantle. I will greatly praise the Lord with my mouth. Yea, I will praise Him among the multitude, for He shall stand at the right hand of the poor to save him from those that condemn his soul.
And it goes right in accordance with no weapon formed against me shall prosper.
And every tongue that rises up against me shall be condemned, for this is my inheritance, because I'm a servant of God.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. So He gave us the words to say to come together with that scripture. And so people are mad because I use my Bible, because I read it, and
they ain't mad that you use the Bible. They mad that you posted it to the world, and then along with the.
How am I supposed to teach the word of God if I don't post?
You're supposed to teach. You ain't supposed to curse it. You're supposed to say, hey, listen, you know what I could do? You know, it's a scripture in the Bible.
By example.
No, Danae, you can say, hey, there's a scripture that I find solace in right now. It's Psalms 109. And let me read this scripture, and I
got you though. So. Like 2 weeks before then, I actually did that, where I actually read the whole psalm. And Bishop, my father in the Lord, R.C. Blakes, he will watch that video that I did. And I actually talked about Psalm 109. I read the whole thing. I did a whole teaching on it before I even released that video 2 weeks later.
They ain't gonna see that part.
Of course they don't.
They saw you with the cursing everybody.
Of course.
Was you acting real crazy in the video?
No, I wasn't.
You're just reading it.
I just
because everybody referred to that. They say she done cursed everybody on the internet.
No, what I said was that everybody that is coming against me and talking against me and Derrick Jackson with slander, mockery, lies.
Your kid's gonna be back.
All this shall happen. I quoted the word of God. That's what you're supposed to do. Y'all don't know how to fight in the spirit. That ain't got nothing to do with me. That ain't got nothing to do with me.
Your kids be vagabonds and beg for bread.
Hyperbole. I stand behind it. I stand firm. I do not regret what I said. As you said, he gave me words to say for a reason. I used it. He said that.
You're muted again.
Shut her up. Shut her up. I was saying it the whole time. Shut her up. Because here's the thing. Now, I may not have a master's in divinity. My master's is in organizational leadership, whatever. But what I do have is a concentration in English. And what I remember just from me going to church, from what my grandma taught me, when you say these prayers, this is something that you want to come true. This isn't, figuratively. This is literally. David is literally saying, Lord, people are lying on me, and this is what I want you to do to them. Take them out of this world. Kill them. Kill them, Lord. And when you kill them, Lord, make his wife a widow, and that nobody will be desiring of her. So therefore, her children will always be fatherless, and they will walk the streets, and they will beg for money and food. He will never have anything. Dear Lord, take everything away from him. That is what this psalm says. So please miss me with your, I got a divinity degree. A 4.0.
Listen, I don't give a fuck about her damn degree. I didn't study the Bible more than she has. Look, I grew up in the church, born and raised in the church. Grandparents had the usher bird in the church. Mama, the youth pastor in the church. In the church multiple times a week in the church. Went to Catholic school, where we had to study in religion class, go to church weekly, and pray every period. What she not about to do is fucking play in my fucking face. That was a curse. She not about to play in my motherfucking face. I may not be in the church no more. Okay? But the reason I'm not in the church no more is because I read that book front to back after having studied religion for years and been in church for years and studied history. Because some Christians, we got to stop using the Bible as y'all only source when we have conversations about Christianity. But that's beside the point for right now. Because wow. So putting all that together, you're not going to sit here and lie to me in my face about the intention behind Psalms, period. These were the songs and the poems and the curses and the poems written during a time of struggle. You're not going to sit here and lie to me to my fucking face. You're just not going to do it. And even if I didn't know anything about the Bible, I know how to understand English.
Period. And I know how to interpret, poems and stuff like that.
She ain't gonna sit here and play in my fucking face like this.
She is, because she clearly thinks people are stupid. And that's the reason why this was the moment where she started pissing me off. So y'all want to know when she started pissing me off? When she sat here and she tried to gaslight people as if people don't know what the hell she was talking about. And maybe you need to Google hyperbole. Girl, shut up. Maybe you need to Google commitment. Maybe you need to Google the nearest clinic. Maybe you need to Google A real live therapist.
Look, the Google for the clinician should be the first stop.
Period.
Because the next part about this 100 women's and stuff, no. But this is the part about how I think she moved from feeling superior over bagging this man and moved into feeling superior because I'm Christian, you're not. I found God, I'm better. I see demons, I know how to rebuke demons, and because I know how to read the Bible, I'm better than you. And I think that she, in her pick-me-ism, in her delusional obsession, she moved from obsessing over her husband to obsessing over Jesus. And it doesn't stop with her. She has to have something external to obsess over. When it was younger, it was her dad until she died. He died, excuse me. She didn't really talk about high school, but high school she was kind of transitioning and working on her body image and her outer appearance. Then in college, she latched on to Derek, and that's been her current obsession. And now she's the Jesus freak. I'm just gonna say it. She the Jesus freak. Like, there's a reason that's an archetype. Like, you're so obsessed and sold on Jesus that, like, you don't see anything else. Nothing else exists. And as long as you are a good Christian who goes to church on Sundays and maybe Wednesdays for Bible study, who pays their tithes on time, who reads the Bible, but doesn't look at the whole of Christianity and how Christianity presents in the world and tries to be a better person, you think just doing those simple things makes you a good Christian, when in actuality, you are a nice, nasty person and you are a horrible human being.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Christianity is going to be her most dangerous obsession, just because more people will feed into that obsession. And especially with these courses she's offering, she's going to attract other Jesus freak pick-me's. And they're going to be in their little huddle, in their little group, in their little echo chamber. And they're going to feed off each other's energy. And they're going to be in such an echo chamber that they cannot see how they need to alter themselves to stop choosing men like this. Right. They're going to get in an echo chamber and try to change themselves to be the woman the man wants her to be for him to stop cheating. But they're never going to realize he's not going to stop cheating.
Exactly. I made a comment. Right. I made a note, and I said toxic Christianity is a beast. Because the fact that she really thinks that God was like, hey, excuse me, you're my strongest soldier. So I'm going to put you through so much, because she said that she's Job. That's what she said. She said her life reminded her of Job in the Bible. And Job is a whole book in the Bible. And that man and her are not the same.
Can I say something?
I'm ready.
First of all, it's delusional to just compare yourself to a Bible character. Not to like offend anybody, but if you are actually a Christian that believes in Christianity and the Bible, it's real delusional for you to be fucking comparing yourself to the niggas that made it into the Bible. Like, that's wild. That's like, you supposed to be striving. You ain't supposed to be them. But also, I hate to burst her bubble, but in the next Bible, there is not going to be a book of Danae.
It's not. It's not. That was a good point you made, Coco. If anybody else agrees with that, like the live, because that was a great point. No, you're not going to be considered a saint. You ruined that for yourself.
I had to have a belly laugh. I'm so sorry.
You ruined that. It's
Like,
over.
girl, do you
You're not a
really
prophet.
think that you enduring this nigga is gonna get you into the next Bible? Is that what this bitch thinks is gonna happen? She's gonna endure this much emotional trauma, endure this depression, having kids and abortions for this man who has never been faithful to her. Does she really think that's gonna get her in the next Bible?
I said this. I asked this question to myself. You really think the Lord made you go through all of this drama? Like, you really think the Lord said, "Hey, devil," because let's think about what we're working with. Because we're using her logic, not our logic. Hers. She is using the logic that she has been made into 2022 Job, and that the devil went to God and was like, "Danae is one of your strongest. But you know what? I think I can break her. I think I can break her." And God was like, "You know what? I bet you can. Oh, yes, I can, Lord. I bet you can. Oh, yes, I can, Lord. Watch me, Lord." That didn't happen. What happened was the devil was about to go to God and say, let me try her real quick. And God was like, "She's already going through enough. Like, we're going to leave her alone." Because God only protects babies and fools. And since she's not a baby, we can only imagine what she is. That is the story. I'm sticking to it. I told you I wasn't going to be nice. I am sorry. I can't deal with this. And she's trying to make herself out to be this modern day Christian. We was out here slinging it with this boy for almost 10 years before he decided to marry you. And then not even, you couldn't even get past the halfway mark of year one, and he was already doing the same stuff he was doing 10 years ago. I'ma move. He meets you there after he decides to turn on your phone, because I bet you his phone won't off. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I was wrong.
I'm sitting over here laughing like, you really think like God was like, Danae was one of our toughest soldiers. Let's send her Let's send her a cheap ass fuck boy, and that's gonna be.
I'm telling you,
Get her in the next Bible. She ain't solved world hunger. She ain't stopped no war. She ain't cured cancer.
I'm telling you right now, God definitely told
technology to get us to fucking Jupiter. All she had to do was Derek.
I'm telling you right now, the devil went to him and he was like, "Can I try her?" And the God was like, "No, she's already down. That'll be too easy. You can't get any lower than where she is right now. So I advise you to go ahead and find somebody else."
I'm so sorry, but that to me is also very much delusional and arrogant. This is not a test from God. This is a demon leeching off you. And the fact that you can't tell the difference, I don't want guidance from you. I don't want you to coach me to anything. I don't want directions from you. I don't even want you to look in my direction.
And they're like $7,000 to sit and talk to you one-on-one.
I texted Ari. I said, she is smoking dick if she thinks her services are warranted for that. There are people with 20, 30 years of experience and the actual education and credentials that don't charge that much a month. Like there's no reason unless you are just as delusional as Danae and you don't got no common sense and no family or no friends, no cousins, no homegirls that go roll beside you to that nigga house in the middle of the night. If you ain't got nobody, I'm letting you know right now, you don't need Danae Jackson.
You don't.
I mean, from a place of privilege, I think finding your own therapist is the best route. Mm-hmm. But I would choose BetterHelp over her. I'm just saying. At least that's free.
And I get it, because I'm coming from this standpoint. You don't have to have a license technically to be a coach, even though there are certificates out there.
Look, don't. I was going to be a life coach, and somehow I got sidetracked with TikTok. I'll probably reroute back there sometime. Listen, we'll talk about that some other time, because I was supposed to be a body positive influencer on TikTok, and somehow I started cussing y'all niggas out. So I don't know what happened, but here we are. But here we are. But it's not her lack of credentials. It's that the audacity of you to think that your services should be that expensive. And I should pull up the website so we can see it together. When we let the clip play, I'll find it. Because I also found the Texas law about the divorce and the adultery. So we can go over that. So I can put my glasses back on. I can't see. But it's like the audacity of you, who all you've done was be with a fuck nigga, think that you can charge $4,000 to $7,000 a month for coaching. Coaching me to do what, bitch? Am I gonna lose 60 pounds by smoking dick too? Like, what is going on? What am I paying you this much for? If I'm going to invest in myself and I need this much help to deal with being in a marriage with a philandering hoe of a husband, I would rather use those thousands of dollars to go with someone who at least took a damn weekend course to be a coach. Bitch, where is your certificate? Like, no. Like, you gonna need more than your testimony of how you was a dumb bitch for 13 years. No. You need to at least leave your husband and not get left by him in order for you to fucking go down to the damn courthouse. That's also it. He left you. I'm gonna let this clip play because she finna get on my last goddamn nerve, and
look at before you play it. Look at him. You already know she said something stupid just by his body.
Let me go back like 30 seconds. Let's see what the fuck she was talking about. Or like 40. Let's see.
The end before I even left and all that, when I knew I would start showing up to the condo randomly and like let's do it, and he was like, no, I just want to talk, and I want you want to talk. So he wants to talk to me, and he is smashing these ladies hard. So, I heard the prime starts like, so anyway.
You heard the prime start with?
This is like late 20s, early 30s for men. Apparently it hits later for women though. So he went to talk to me. So that's what we did.
Y'all talked.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so and in 2021 was when you said, after you bruised his ego because you said that it was 2 years ago where you were in love with him. Is that backtracking back to when y'all got married?
A little bit after we got married, a little bit after, because like after we got married, there were still inappropriate conversations and all of that. And so when I'm thinking about like, when was I truly like actually in love? It was like 2 years ago, like where I really felt that. And so
in 2019,
early 2019, like I was feeling myself. I was like, I'm in therapy. I lost 66 pounds. I'm fine. Like I have arrived. I'm healed and whole. No, far from it, right? But I was on the path.
You was on the upward climb.
Path, but that's where I really felt like I'm in love with him, and he was feeling the whole time like, I am miserable. I can't wait to get away from her. Clearly, he was smashing everything that was coming around. So we had two different things that we were feeling at that particular time.
Did you ever find out how many women he actually cheated on you with?
As a whole in marriage?
In, out, or whatever. Was there ever a moment that y'all had a come to Jesus moment where he sat down and said, listen, to my knowledge, this is how many women I've slept with?
Okay, so part of the recovery process where we were in the program for infidelity and all that is discovery. And in discovery, it's like, we've trickled out a lot of information. Now it's time to go to level 0, ground zero, they call it. And so he had to make a list. And so he made a list of women, so everything that he could recollect, and there was nearly 100 women on there. And so
you're talking about the 100. Where you going
that
back
he
to?
wrote on the list. Now
You talking about you talking about in his lifetime, or you talking about while y'all were dealing with each other?
Okay, so we have to define these things. So I did not do a good job at defining if it was a lifetime of his lifetime or if it was specific to just
Well, heck, he been dating you since he was 19.
right. So in my mind, to me, that's a lifetime, right?
Yeah,
you know, in my mind. So I'm thinking at least since we have met, since we were 19.
He wrote down 100 names.
Yes.
What did you think when you saw that?
That.
The name silly.
Like,
oh God.
I mean, what do you really do with that? Like, I don't know. I was just like, okay, I forgive you for all these things. We got counsel. So it wasn't just like he gave me this list and there's nothing, right? We actually had counsel like, okay, walk us through this. We're revealing this stuff. Like, what did you think? How are you feeling today? I'm just like, that's how I feel, you know?
No.
Right. And it's like, okay, well, now that this is ground like level 0, now we can
rebuild,
move forward and rebuild. And so it's from there, it's like, okay, I have to make a conscious choice every day to not think about or not to re-bring it up, you know, unless it's relevant to like this phase of the healing that I'm going through because we're dealing with it through therapy or whatever, but not just to be like randomly, yeah, I remember 99, you know, like I you know, so it's a process and it's a shock, right? And again, there's a crushing that goes on with that, but I made a choice like, okay, I'm deciding to be here. I'm deciding to go through this process. I'm going to try this. And again, I'm dealing with this pregnant, guys. I'm whole pregnant. Right. So did I do that successfully? No, I got whole pregnancy hormones. I'm mad. There's days I'm just mad.
Yep.
I'm just like, get out, like, get out.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to see you right now. Don't touch me. Don't like look at me right now. Like, I'm just upset that you even allowed it to get to this point. Like, why were you so careless? Like, did you not think about this? Why didn't you get a gag order on these?
Yeah.
You know, like
you're over here trying to protect the bag.
Right.
You're like, you should have did this. You should
right. So there was a lot of that. And then so with that, I think that took a toll on him too. Just like he's still a whole person that has feelings and all that.
Would you been okay with this?
So
let's reimagine your marriage. Would you be okay with him saying this? Danae, it is what it is. I love having sex with multiple women. I'm never going to dishonor you. I will make sure that none of this is brought out in the open. I'm gonna have this on the side. You're gonna provide the lifestyle that you dream of. I'm gonna honor you. I'm gonna respect you. I'm gonna take care of the kids. I'm gonna be a very present husband. But you have to allow me. I'm a man of means. You have to allow me to have sex with multiple women as I see fit. Can you agree with that?
What Bible verse is that?
We ain't gonna go by no Bible verse. It's the book of Derek.
No.
Do you agree with this? Do you agree with this?
No. And then I want to know what scripture that's in.
I can't.
I'm tired.
I am too.
I'm tired of her. I'm tired of him. I'm tired. Because the fact that, baby girl, I know you don't want to admit it, but you had already let him know that he could do that. You just didn't say it out loud. Your silence to him was confirmation to go ahead and do it. If you don't say nothing, he automatically defaulted to do what you want to do. And then this gag order situation.
Worried about the words and not the actions.
Right. And then this gag order situation, this NDA, so to speak, that you wanted him to do. This further confirms that you had no problem. You just didn't want everybody to know you had a problem. You just didn't want anybody to find out. People already didn't know about you until they seen you up there with your beret. I'm calling it what she said that it was. She said it was a beret. She said it was like a hat. So, okay. You sat up there and it was like, wow, okay. This is his wife? Oh, wow, that's crazy. Wasn't expecting that. What you want us to say?
Can y'all see now why we just can't be on her side? Because that's not even the nail in the coffin. To me, the nail in the coffin is the whole divorce situation. After all this is taking place, right? So apparently she found out he wanted a divorce because he sent her a text message from upstairs in their 9,000 square foot mansion. And she was downstairs
on the couch.
on the couch and he was upstairs. And then she said, she texted him, if that's what you
hoping and
she
praying.
said the next day, the next day he comes downstairs apparently is like, do you have any questions or comments about the text message? And she was like, nope. And then she said he got in the car and made a video. He got in the car and made a video about if you tell somebody you want to do something and they respond, if that's what you want to do, they're trying to manipulate you. And she commented something and she got blocked. And that's the reason why she didn't know he made that Mother's Day post, because she thought she was blocked. But it was really weird because she said the couple days leading up to that text message, he had came to her and said that he doesn't want to have any more sexual relations with her for 2 months. And she thought that was weird because, like, why? I've been giving you yams for the past 13 years. And then they had a conversation and she was basically like, I forgive you for everything that you've done. And he was like, I want a divorce. And so on October 13th, 2022, add this to your timeline. Derek filed for divorce October 13th, 2022. And he filed for irreconcilable differences. And she countersued him for divorce. Hold on, I gotta get all my little tabs together. She countersued him for adultery. Texas is real bad about their law. This shit written like someone read that shit in crayon. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna hold you. I'm really not gonna hold you. And look, I've been drinking, so my legal interpretation skills may or may not be great right now. So we were having a conversation earlier about whether or not Derek can fight this adultery claim because she knew. I'm not gonna go too hard because you're not an attorney, so I don't want to really argue because I can do that tomorrow. I actually have a trial tomorrow. Shit, did we settle that shit? We'll figure it out. That's a problem for a different day.
Period.
Let me screen share.
Because I just want to know, because I know I'm ignorant in the law of my state sometimes. So I know I don't know nothing that's going on in Texas.
So let me tell y'all something. This is why I said it's written in crayon. This is their family code, chapter 6. And so this is the whole blurb about adultery. That's it. The court may grant a divorce in favor of one spouse if the other spouse has committed adultery.
Oh, so she won this on the strength of the she ain't gotta prove it. She don't need.
That's what I'm saying. So I went to some other attorneys, their website, so they can give us a little bit more information about like this, because case law is important. It's not just the statute. So divorces usually are no fault divorces, and that's where your irreconcilable differences comes in. He doesn't have to prove anything. Shit's just not working. And so that would kind of basically mean the division of assets, which is the only reason why we're here anyway, right? Because adultery or irreconcilable differences has nothing to do with like child support, child care. We would only be using this for division of marital assets and any of the finances. So no fault basically splits everything down the middle, unless you have a pre or post nut, which would make things differently, make things divvy up differently. So fault based, they're basically saying this basically affects how you would divide the assets. And I may have to look for, well, no, they moved to, I don't know. We got to figure it out. That's for their attorneys. So basically, you would have to actually have evidence. But what it's saying here is basically, if you can prove it, you can basically get more assets. So instead of it being 50-50, it may be like 60-40. Or it may, because they're not married long enough to have alimony really, and especially not permanent alimony. But because of the fault of the adultery, support payments may be on the table now. And if they have a prenup, which we don't know if they have a prenup. He didn't ask. I don't know why you're interviewing a person getting a divorce and don't ask if they have a prenup when they've talked about how they've invested time and money into the business creation and all this stuff. So,
no. She didn't invest any money because remember, she had no job.
That's more of a plus for her.
Right.
Like I said, she might be a smart bitch. I don't know.
I can't call her smart because smart would have been just having your child and putting him on child support and living in Colorado with your mama.
Smart would have been leaving that nigga alone, getting your first abortion and being the fuck out.
He can't be worth that much money. Somebody asked, how much is he worth?
I mean, he had to ask that money. He's been around for a while.
Yeah, but I mean, he ain't like swimming. Half $500,000
is good for me.
Half would probably, be a crushing blow for him. Because I don't think a lot of people are listening to his content like they used to.
And that's also why this is a scam. It's not a scam, but taking advantage of gullible and vulnerable people.
Mm-hmm.
They two peas in a pod. Low key. I ain't got no more throats.
Oh, I think I might have found a loophole though. Did he cheat on her while they were in Texas? Because if they're filing in Texas,
they're only filing in Texas because that's the court that has jurisdiction. So it wouldn't be they have to be in the state when it's occurred. It just had to occur during the marriage.
Okay. I just needed to know that.
It would be interesting though. They've been in Texas for at least 2 years.
They're talking about like the house square footage in the chat, and I'm gonna go ahead and say it. It was probably rented. The house in Texas was probably rented as well. So, I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe they did buy the house. Who knows? I mean, I'm not about to go searching. But a lot of people like to rent their big houses.
I mean, it's Georgia and Texas. As a Floridian who just bought a house, I grew up in Seattle. My mother I've been trying to convince my mom and grandpa to move here. Because my grandpa, he's getting older, but also like I'm spoiled, so just move down here. So my wife has been sending her like Zillow listings to like get her to move down here. And I've also been trying to get my best friend to move down here because she lives up there too. So my sticking point is look how much house you can get for the money. So, because me, I'm like, when we were trying to buy a house, I'm like, the average house is like gonna be $450, and my wife was like, that's ridiculous. And I'm like, well, that's how much you can get. That's how much a shack costs in Seattle. So,
right.
So she sent me a 2-bedroom, 2-bathroom, 1,300 square feet condo in Seattle in Rainier Beach. Right now is going for $569.
Goodness gracious.
My 5-bedroom, 3-bathroom house on a third of an acre, we bought it for $370.
Oh yeah. Night
So
and day.
I mean, when we talk about Georgia and Texas, it's like you can get a lot of house
For a
for not
little.
a lot of money. So
Right.
that depending on the local, especially for Atlanta, depending on the neighborhood, is going to determine your price more so than the square footage of the house.
Right.
Like, because you can get a 9,000 square foot house in Georgia outside of Atlanta for like what? Probably 500. In Texas, probably 500 to 800, depending on which city you live in. But in actual Atlanta, that's when it's going to make it go up. And then depending on what neighborhood in Atlanta you're going to be in, it's going to make it go up even more.
Yep.
So it could have been rented. It could have bought it. It depends on where they was living. Because
Yep.
not all celebrities that are from the South like live in like everybody don't live in what is it, Buckhead. They don't all live over there. So it depends. If I was real nosy, which I'm too to be nosy, because y'all know me, I will Google somebody's real estate. I will Google somebody real quick.
I mean, all of this stuff is public.
It sure as hell is.
So if you really want to know what he could possibly be losing, look it up.
Look, any final words or thoughts? I don't got no more notes because I was really trying to be on her side a little bit. I really was trying to give her a chance. I just can't do it.
The last thing that I have to say is that she didn't try therapy hard enough. She lied. She either she withheld a lot of information or she completely went in there telling lies. That's it. That's all. It's no way possible. Before I had therapy, I used to not watch my mouth as much as I do now.
Y'all should feel lucky I went through this much therapy. I could be worse.
Same. And if I was hypomanic, Coco would have had to put me off. I'm just like
encouraging you. That's the bad part.
She didn't try therapy hard enough. And I know that she's still not currently going through therapy because now she's too self-righteous. She believes that God is telling her to go on these platforms and continuously drag herself, beret and all.
I was going to be so unserious. I was like, she switched her 3 therapists for the 3 wise men. I ain't got no sense.
Basically, she's Joe.
She just is like, I don't need therapy. I have Jesus.
As long as I have King Jesus, I don't need nobody else. She been lied on. She been talked about. She been misused.
How we lie on her? That's the other thing. It's like, how are we going to lie about you? And we just saw you was getting cheated on.
We didn't know you before you got cheated on. We didn't know you. Nobody lied on you.
We all black ass to leave.
We was like, okay, girl, why are you there? He should be doing this video by himself. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
We were like, why he got you out here looking like that?
Oh, I just got off the road. We just came back from,
that man does not care about you.
Going to the funeral. And I was tired and I was pregnant with a whole baby for 8 weeks. So it was a lot going on. And that's why I had my beret on. Looking stupid in the camera.
Bro, this man, he came in off the road. He went and took a shower, rubbed himself down in shea butter, and put on his good light sweater. This is why I say I can't be on her side. I totally empathize with all the trauma that she's been through. Yeah. I definitely don't agree that Derek is a great person. At all. I think he used and took advantage of her. But bitch, how?
Ma'am, at
At
some
what
point,
point are you gonna have some fucking self-esteem, some fucking dignity? Require more for yourself. You said you didn't have no boundaries, well, bitch, you still don't have no boundaries. Like,
right.
if this man hadn't filed for divorce, you would have still been in the living room passing bitches on the hallway. Like, y'all, I cannot.
I want to know if it's going to go all the way through the courts. That's what I want to know. I want to know if it's going to go through all the way through the courts. The reason why it's taking so long is because doesn't everybody give them like a year of separation first before they go into the actual trial itself? So that's probably another reason why y'all waiting around. And I don't feel like he's really going to, if she doesn't press the issue, he's not going to press the issue.
She ain't
he
going
just
to press
to be away from her.
She is not ever going to press the issue. If they get a divorce, it's because he gonna see it through.
Yep.
Look, I gotta go. I think I'm finna go fire up the grill and do some drunk grilling.
I tried my best. I want to leave this last remark before Coco ends the live. I really tried my best. I really did. I truly did. But
we weren't as bad as we could have been. We could have cussed her clean the fuck out. We didn't do that though.
I chose words very well. I'm proud of you too. We did a good job.
We did.
It was so many other words I wanted to say about her. I didn't call her stupid. I didn't call her remedial. It was a lot of words I could have used, and I didn't. So, and it was a lot of words you could have used. I've seen you cuss somebody out from the top to the bottom. And we didn't do that. So I am proud. Oh, but boy, what if we had this conversation in the TikTok? Oh, you know
we might have to do that. But no, like I am all about Black women empowerment.
Amen.
That is like 99% of my platform. Everything, when I make these videos and have these conversations and we're talking about misogyny and racism and all blah, 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 I'm doing that from the vantage point of building community, having conversations, and bringing knowledge to Black women that wouldn't normally have the perspective or the knowledge or someone bold enough to bring up the conversation.
Absolutely.
So when I have conversations like this and I'm upset like this and I'm cussing bitches out, I want you to understand it's because I don't want y'all to be dumb bitches too.
Period.
So I want y'all to keep that in mind, have grace with me, because I really could have went harder at her, and I will go harder on her in private and not on a public platform. Just because that just because it's not a productive use of my time to actually go as hard on her, because there are some people in her situation right now, and sometimes you need tough love. When you are being stupid and dumb, sometimes being handled with kid gloves is not the best course of action.
Period.
Sometimes you being shaken is the best course of action. Some of y'all don't respond to someone saying, you deserve better. I want you to do better. Some of you bitches turn that to mean, oh, let me go be better so that he'll choose me, pick me, love me. No, bitch. When I said do better, I meant choose you. Choose you. You pick you. And if that man ain't gonna act right, leave that nigga where he at. Some of y'all bitches don't get that message unless I'm cussing y'all the fuck out. I don't know what it is, but sometimes I have to go there. I didn't go as far because sometimes if I'm going to go that far, it's probably going to be on a personal note. I'm going to cuss you out personally, you know?
Period.
Ask my friends, my Yelp reviews. But no, like some of y'all y'all need guidance and y'all ain't got no good girlfriends and your mama don't like you and your daddy left. So
yeah, because you already know that she ain't had no friends. She's never mentioned a girlfriend.
She didn't mention not one fucking friend.
She's lonely.
Cause bitch, if I was her friend, bitch, you would have been done with that nigga in 3 weeks. I would have told you after 3 weeks, fuck that nigga. Get
He
you a
was
new
fun.
one.
I'm quite sure he was very fun, Denasia. But let's focus on what we came to college for. Because he ain't.
Here's my rule of thumb, okay? As a baddie with a belly, okay? For every nigga that likes you, there's 10 more niggas. Get a new one. It's not that hard.
And you at college at Tuskegee.
Okay.
You can't let me say no cute dogs around there. That's who you saw?
Yeah, let me tell y'all something. I knew what I was doing when I went to a PWI. I had to be focused.
Well, and that's why I went to a HBCU really late in life when I had to understand that school came first. But don't get it twisted. I've gotten picked up by a couple of cute dogs on the yard here or there. And all I'm saying is it was probably guys 10 times finer than him. But you chose to set your sights.
I really think, because have y'all seen Derek Jackson like before he got real buff? Like he looked like the type that just got fined the summer before freshman year of college.
Probably.
Well, I think it was he had this newfound sexiness and she thought the world of him because, again, I think this is the perfect storm of him being someone that was on the hunt for someone to manipulate, but she's obsessive and she does a lot of things without being asked. So I think that for them, and that's also why I think the videos for him are souvenirs. I think he had just got fined, and when he got on YouTube, he got finer. And I think like he's just racking up the notches in the belt.
Kind of like Jay-Z when he got with Beyonce. A lot of people didn't for him for real until he got with Beyonce.
Like you wasn't finding nobody until you got with Beyonce and got $1 billion. Let's be fucking for real.
Now I do have this.
I couldn't do Jay-Z.
I have this one question for you, and then we truly do need to wrap it up because the more you drink and the more I enable you, we're gonna wind up saying something we're not supposed to say. And so I want to ask this: do you feel like she was preyed on, or do you feel like she knew that this was coming?
To answer the question you asked me directly, without bringing in any other context or any other words, I think she was manipulated.
Okay.
But to expound, I think the way, and I think did I discuss this on the thing or did I text this to you? I don't remember. I feel like the way in which she is obsessed with this man is very much juvenile.
Mm-hmm.
It's giving very much preteen.
Right. And she lost her father at 12.
She
probably got stuck in that age frame. So she doesn't have an inner child that she needs to heal. She has an inner tween that she needs to heal.
Because even when she was talking about how when she met him, she had her pictures in her see-through binder, even though she was in a sophomore in college. And I was like, it gives, I may have texted you this. It gives me that, because I was that girl in middle school. Like, if I really like a boy, I'm going to sit there, I'm going to write his name and doodle it. I'll even do it now with my name. I would like Mrs. Stafford. Like, when I get bored.
I do that too. Yeah, I do that too. Like, ooh, let me write my name.
It gives that she's in that state of mind. So she just wants the cute, popular boy to pick her.
Mm-hmm.
But she's too young mentally to know when someone isn't good for her.
Correct.
And that's why it also gives me obsessed. It's like, well, he's so cute and he's so popular and he likes me. And he chose me. He really likes me. But it's like, baby girl, he likes you because you're this immature. He likes you because you're going to be the puppy dog that follows him everywhere. You follow this man. Where's Tuskegee at? What state?
Is it in Tennessee?
It might be. So you follow this man from Tennessee to North Carolina. Mind you, she would describe all this time they were together as a situationship. But you follow this man from Tennessee to North Carolina to Georgia. You leave Denver. You follow him to Texas.
Oh, right? Alabama.
Out from Alabama, North Carolina to Georgia to Texas. You're following this man around everywhere. You're helping him with whatever you need help with. You're basically a married single mother raising your kids at your 9,000 square foot mansion by your fucking self while you're literally doing all the behind the scenes, answering emails, sending texts, getting contracts, setting up the tour, doing everything for him. What did you go to get a bachelor's or a master's degree for if you were just going to fucking be his fucking stay-at-home wife?
And let's...
Like, the fuck you got a master's for?
As she pretends to be Nene Leakes on an episode of Atlanta Housewives, while she walks around that nice 9K square foot of a house. Sorry, excuse me, mansion. I don't want to be in the forefront. However, I want everybody to know who I am. That doesn't make sense. If you're in the background, that's because you don't want to be seen.
But it's not even that, because she said that in one breath, but in another point, he had basically explicitly told her, I can't put you out in the forefront because you're going to blow up the spot.
Sure.
And she was like, oh, okay.
Because I don't want the girls that I decided not to continue to drag to see that I'm continuously dragging you. Because they all told me you weren't good enough for me. But I don't want them to know that I decided to choose you.
But see, that's where I do see his manipulation come out.
Period.
Because he knows with that type of girl, if I make it a competition, I'm going to have you hooked. And even though you really want to be out in the forefront, you really want me to claim you publicly, I know if I just make it a competition between you and other women, you'll be quiet because you'd rather beat them out than for the whole world to know your husband is your husband and he out here slinging dick from here to everywhere. She was like, I'd rather keep winning than to disrupt the relationship and possibly lose him. Which is like crazy because, bitch, you ain't ever, according to her, you ain't never had him.
Never. Remember, your mom was confused. Your mom was confused about how y'all was getting married. Cause I'm my mom.
I don't know. We might have to pick this up on TikTok because please leave a message. Y'all follow her on TikTok. She says she wants to do a live about it, and she really be deep into the breaking down relationships and analyzing them and stuff. And I love her content, and she's just she be making me think. I'm like, ooh. But yeah, no, she just Danae. I don't even know. I don't even know. Do we lift her up in prayer? I don't fucking know.
I was just about to say that we can pray for her. Maybe that's a Southern thing. You know, I am from Virginia. That might
you can hold up. Well, moment of silence.
Define a moment.
Jesus wept. That was the moment. That was the moment. Yeah, but no, I don't. I to me at this point, because she did say she had 3 therapists at once, which is actually real wild. I wonder was she 5150, but if she wasn't, she needed. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
She claimed she never was diagnosed with depression. She only had
Baby, that's, I don't know what that is, but it's not depression. I don't know what in the DSM-5 goes with delusions of grandeur, obsession with objects and people. Like what in the what in the DSM-5 is that? Because it's not depression. It's definitely not anxiety. I don't know what that shit would be, but it
could be a personality disorder. Like borderline personality disorder or something like that. Because those
probably need some help from the people with the white coats. Because no, I'm like, it's funny and I'll laugh at it, but like in my heart of hearts, like there's a chemical imbalance in her brain.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I keep saying, it's different when you have a man that's actively manipulating you. It's different when this man is doing everything in front of your face and somehow you're coming out with he loves me and wants to be with me. Even in the face of marriage, no, he doesn't love you, want to be with you. And it's not clicking. But she still talks about this man in a way where you can clearly see she loves this man and wants to be with him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's crazy to me. So I don't know what the fuck.
Never put ed on the word love at all. Love has never been past tense when
she even said she didn't even love him until like what, year 2 of their marriage, and it's like 10 years into the thing, you would love 2 years into your marriage, and this first year of marriage was hell. I'm confused. She says she didn't love him. He don't love her based on his actions. What the fuck are we doing here? See, there's more questions than I had anticipated, and I'm just like, I'm lost. The more information I know, the more lost I become, and I can't stick beside her no more. I can't do it. I really had hope that I was gonna be nice and understanding. I can't. Because this shit don't make no damn sense to me. I feel like either she's really stupid or we're being played.
One of the two. And I'd be damned if I found out I got played.
I'm 50-50. We're going to see with some more time. Because I'm like, I thought about this when she first wrote that weight loss course.
Yeah, we're not done with her.
Yeah, no.
We're going to see her again.
This has to be orchestrated. It has to be orchestrated. It has to be.
This is some way of
You know what? Here's my prediction, right? So here we are. In the midst of divorce, rising from the ashes like a phoenix, Danae. She's going to heal and share her testimony. Then she's going to offer courses to show other women how to heal yourself and be a whole woman again. And in the background, we see Derek. Oh no, he's born again. He's no longer a cheater. He's going to get himself together and start selling you courses about how to get yourself together, black man. How to stop cheating on your wife and your children and be a family man. Oh my God. They are both healed now and the divorce is off. Oh my God. It's a couples retreat in Jamaica. Bring you and your philandering husbands to a resort full of all black women in bikinis while you fix your marriage like we did. For a minuscule payment of $10,000 a month for 13 consecutive months, you too can fix your marriage.
Airline is not included. Airfare is not included.
I can't, bro. Like,
if that's the case, I'm suing. I don't know what I'm suing for.
Emotional damage. Look, you have drugged me on this emotional roller coaster that I did not consent to. Y'all don't have to do any of this. He could have just stayed sharing his little books and gone about his business. But I guess he figured out since he came back to TikTok that his audience just ain't that big. So now she got to go out there and make some money for the churn. So I guess we'll conclude until the next time we find something new, because we're probably gonna be here the next 8 business months.
It was great. It was great. Thank you for allowing me.
I love this. Yeah. No, I had to be inebriated for this shit because I was really gonna be stressed the fuck out. It's probably the reason why I haven't gone as hard, because I'm chilling.
I was a little tipsy, not enough. I
want to make this without liquor. This is tasty.
Do your sign.
Anyways, you two, thank you for joining me on this conversation with Coco. I might see y'all next week. I might not. I realize having a strict schedule is probably not the best idea for me right now on my mental health. So I'm thinking like maybe like here and there every other week. I don't know, whenever I feel like it. Y'all be here. Y'all turn on your notifications, subscribe and whatever. Tell us how we can find you too, Ari.
I am on TikTok at Dear Red. D is DEE. Oh God, this was a great conversation, Coco. Like always.
We got to get back to having more educational content. We gotta go back to watching documentaries and shit. We got to. Ooh, but man, some shit may pop off this week, because I feel like every time we get one through one of these scandals, something else happens.
Yeah, and it wasn't a big buzz about it, so I don't feel like a lot of people really took the time. Maybe because it was in 2 parts. You know, people want to.
Which should have been either 3 parts, or the time should have been divvied up. Like, why is the first part an hour and the second part 2? Right. Why can either just be an hour and a half each, or like 3 1-hour segments? Can we give him some Yelp reviews? Because,
oh, girl.
Look, I'm gonna let y'all go on YouTube. Bye. Thank you for joining me. If y'all see me in the next 7 days, y'all see me. If not, y'all will catch me on TikTok, because I'm always over there. All my links are in the description box. And so if y'all want to follow me or anything, go ahead and do that. If y'all got some content that y'all see, y'all want some commentary on, because I can't be everywhere. You know, slide it to me in an email or tag me on TikTok or YouTube. Please don't tag me and shit on Twitter. Please don't do that. But you can follow me. I don't tweet, but that I just can't do it over there on Twitter. I'm sorry. But yeah, bye.